And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Benjamin versus Love. Step forward, please.
Child care provider Julia Benjamin and her husband, police officer Michael Benjamin, are suing Julia's aunt, child care provider Elsie Love, for the return of their dog, Fluffy. Elsie says Fluffy is hers.
Mrs. Benjamin, is this your aunt?
Yes.
And you're her husband?
Yes.
According to what I've read, it is your claim that you loaned this dog to your aunt. Now you want the dog back. She says you can't have the dog back because this was not a loan. You gave her the dog. And this is all about another issue that is probably much more important, which has to do with the custody of your daughter, who was, for most of her life, raised by your aunt. And you just regained custody of her, is that right?
No, that's not right, Your Honor.
Well, let me get to this part of it's not really a defense, but it's sort of a motive. You were on good relations with your aunt?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
Good. And how many children do you have?
5.
Which child lived with you for 6 years?
The third.
What's the child's name?
Maisha.
How old is Maisha?
Maisha's 10 now.
How old was she when she came to you?
4 months old.
And how long did she stay with you?
8 years.
Was she placed with you by the courts?
She was given to me through her mother.
How come?
Her mother had a drug problem.
So Mrs. Benjamin gave you Maisha. Courts had nothing to do with it?
The courts had nothing to do with it.
Where were her other 4 children?
She only had 3 then. The 2 oldest children were with her aunt, and Maisha was with me.
So far, is that right?
For the most part.
Good. And when was Maisha returned to her mother?
In 2001.
Was that voluntary on your part, or did a court order that return?
The court ordered it with stipulations.
And the stipulation was involving visitation, is that right?
Yes.
Do you currently have visitation with Maisha?
I have visitation with Maisha on the weekends that I have her. I have visitations from after school until 8 o'clock on Sunday night.
So you have her for weekends, certain weekends?
Yeah, every other weekend.
Now I want you to tell me about the dog. You're up.
First of all...
Not you. Her.
Okay, I asked my aunt. I had a breakout at my daycare center. I'm a family daycare provider. And
since when have you been a family daycare provider?
Since '96.
In what state?
New Jersey.
When did you complete a drug program?
I didn't complete a drug program. I didn't have to. I got clean on my own.
Well, then why did you leave your child with your aunt for 8 years?
Can I address the things that she said?
Well, your child was with your aunt for 8 years. That's true.
My child was with my aunt. I asked my aunt to care for her because I knew that I couldn't at the time. I did not abandon my child.
I didn't ask you
I did not give my child away.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. You had a drug problem. So if you didn't go into a program, when did you stop using drugs? In what year?
I stopped using drugs in '95.
And your child remained with your aunt until 2001. Is that right?
That's right.
And what about your other 2 children? How long did they stay with their other aunt?
Until '96.
And is Mr. Benjamin the father of all 3 of these children?
No.
Is he the father of any of them?
The last 2.
And you were granted a license to take care of children a year after you got clean from drugs?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get back to the dog.
Your Honor, can I...
Let's get back to the dog. When did you give your aunt the dog?
I didn't give my aunt the dog. I asked her to care for the dog in November until we moved.
Okay. And at what stage were the court proceedings in November of 2002 involving your aunt's visitation with Maisha? Were there court proceedings pending?
No, there wasn't.
Were there court proceedings after November of 2002 involving your aunt and visitation?
Yes, in January.
January what?
31st.
So I assume that you were contesting your aunt having extensive visitation with Maisha.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
When did you ask for the dog back?
My husband asked for the dog back.
Tell me when you did that, sir.
January 31st.
When you were in court?
No.
When you were outside of court?
Yes.
So you came outside of court after the case was adjourned, and you had this court proceeding that said that this was not going to be easy. And you found her in her car?
No.
Where did you find her?
I didn't find her at all. When I left out of the court, we seen her friend in the vehicle.
And?
So I stated to him that I will be coming over to get Fluffy later on. Now, can I say this? Me and this gentleman has made communication in reference to Fluffy on several occasions. He is aware that I did state to him that at any given time, when my two daughters, whom I bought the dog for, would continue to pester me about they wanted their dog home, that I would be coming to pick up the dog, and he agreed. And the reason why...
Get your kids another dog.
Your Honor.
Get your kids another dog. You walk out of court in a court proceeding where you are clearly losing. You're clearly losing because the judge is going to adjourn the case until February. And you don't want Maisha to have to be bothered with visitation with the person who raised her.
Not true. That's
From
not
the time
true.
she's 4 months old, quiet, until she's 8. And now there's a visitation proceeding pending. And Mr. Wonderful over here at that time says, we're coming over to get our dog. You gave her the dog in November. November comes and goes, no word. December comes and goes, no word. January comes and goes. That's according to Mr. Benjamin, who is the owner of the dog.
Well, first of all, I didn't finish saying.
I'm speaking.
But I need to be able to say something else, though.
I'm going to let you speak.
Okay.
So 3 months go by, January 31st, at a time when you're coming out of court and you're losing. Then you say to him, and I'm coming over to get my Fluffy. That's what you said.
Yes, I did.
Good. Now I'm going to hear everything that you have to say.
Okay, when Fluffy was given to her aunt by my wife, I really wasn't in agreement with that. I did voice my concern because I did call over to her aunts. I did voice to her how I felt about Fluffy, how my two daughters felt about Fluffy, and that really we weren't happy that Fluffy was with her. But at the same time, you know, if we could just come and visit Fluffy when we wanted to, and if she can bring Fluffy when she picks up Maisha so that he would continue to see us, then I was fine with that. And she agreed. And so therefore, actually, the dog was only brought to my home on one occasion by her boyfriend.
Are we finished now?
No, I'm not. And so actually, he never brought the dog again, so I made several phone calls and talked to the dog on the phone. And that was my only communication with the dog.
Did the dog answer you when they talked to
Well, basically, I asked for a response from Maisha, who was there, and she said that he did the normal. He would wag his tail, and in other words, he noticed, he identified my voice.
Perfectly.
Your Honor.
Yeah. Now, just a second. I want to be, you know, my middle name is Fair.
Sure.
So I want to be totally fair. Are you finished?
Am I finished?
Yes.
Well, not really.
Listen, Mr. Benjamin, I want you to be finished, sir, before I let Mrs. Benjamin speak.
Well, one of the things I want to say is the aunt had been communicating through my wife, and I had been communicating through her boyfriend. For some reason, the aunt never communicated with me, and probably that's because she knows that she can't say anything to me, and I'm just going to say yes or whatever. But it's going to be a fully understood discussion about whatever the situation is so that we both can be on the same page, and that never happened.
Are we finished now?
Okay, yeah, I'm finished from that point on, yes.
Mark that down. He's finished.
So noted.
Mrs. Benjamin, I'm ready to hear you.
Yes, Your Honor. When I asked my aunt to care for my daughter, I got off of drugs a year after that. It took me an additional year to find housing. When I found housing in 1995, I began asking her to let my daughter come home. She told me no. She needed more time. She was attached. Please don't do this. This is going to kill me. That went on for 4 years. Out of sympathy for her feelings, my daughter stayed there. Any family member?
What? Miss Benjamin, Miss Benjamin, you're getting yourself in a very bad spot right now.
I never wanted to go to court.
I wanted to explain something. You're getting yourself into a very bad spot with me and with everybody else who has ever had a child out there. Because if what you said was you let your child live with your aunt because you felt sorry for your aunt.
That's not what I'm saying.
Then you know how to find the courthouse. If what you're telling me is that you were clean within a year and you let your child stay there because you didn't know what else to do, I don't buy it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Let's get to the dog.
Okay.
All right, because there is no excuse. If what you're telling me is you were
my
clean,
daughter could have been home. She didn't want to give her back.
Then you got to.
She never wanted to give her
Miss
back.
Benjamin,
that's why we went to court.
Mrs.
She
Benjamin,
doesn't want to give
are
the
you
dog
listening
back.
to me? My mouth is moving.
Okay.
My mouth is moving. If you're a mother, and you wake up in the morning and you go into the child's bedroom and the child isn't there.
You know,
you listen to me carefully. Then you walk inside to the courthouse and you say, I want my child back.
You know what?
Let's
God
get to the dog.
knows.
Let's
Listen.
get to the dog.
God knows, God knows, God knows, God knows, God
Let's
knows.
get to the
He's
dog.
the ultimate judge.
Let's get to the
He's
dog.
the ultimate judge. I didn't even want to come here.
Good.
I didn't even want to come
Good.
here.
Perfect. Case is dismissed. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I didn't even want to come here.
Keep the dog.
Step out.
I kept this dog. I trained this dog.
God still has the glory, and I just want to say that.
It needs affection. I gave the dog affection just like I gave her a child.
I want to say this. I've been clean. God delivered me. He set me free.
The whole issue is about Maisha, and since they lost the court case, then they went after the dog.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Scarfuto versus Mahoney, step forward.
20-year-old student Courtney Scarfuto is suing her boyfriend's roommate, 20-year-old florist Lacey Mahoney, for backing into her car.
Miss Scarfuto, is your boyfriend here? Where is he?
He's right here.
Was this your roommate?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he still your roommate?
Yes.
Okay, according to your complaint, you were over at your boyfriend's home and you claim that the defendant hit your car as she was pulling out of the driveway. Your insurance paid for the damage to your car, but you suffered out-of-pocket expenses, $500 deductible, you had to rent a car for a couple of days while they fixed it, and you also want her to be responsible for the increased insurance premiums that you're going to have to pay. Forget that part of it. Miss Mahoney says she never hit your car. When was your car damaged?
June 10th, 2003.
And what makes you think Miss Mahoney did it?
She came upstairs, asked me to move my car. I asked Christian to move my car for me. He went downstairs.
With her?
Correct. At that time, she told him that she had hit my car.
Oh, you weren't there?
No.
Step up. Last name?
Whiteley.
Okay, let's go to June 10th. Miss Mahoney comes upstairs where you are, and she said what to you?
She pointed out the damage. She said that she had hit the car and that she was unsure whether or not that she should stay there and admit to the mistake or whether she should go ahead and pull around the car and just simply leave.
And what did you tell her?
I told her that it would be best for her to go back upstairs and to notify my girlfriend, Your Honor.
And she said?
After hesitation, she agreed and we went back upstairs.
And what happened when you got upstairs?
Me and Lacey basically reported that the car had got hit by her, even though it was parked. We all agreed that we would go ahead and handle the situation by tomorrow because we're good friends, Your Honor.
And can I speak? And because she did not carry car insurance. And so since she did not carry car insurance, that
How do you not have insurance? How do you drive without insurance?
Your Honor, I wasn't driving. I was actually moving my car backwards so that we could open up the garage door. But it was on my property in my driveway. I was just moving
That's
it.
driving. Why doesn't your car have insurance?
Because I couldn't afford insurance at the time.
So you're not driving at all? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I'm not driving at all.
Is that true?
No.
Of course not. They seem to say that you admitted hitting her car.
Your Honor, I never admitted to hitting her car. I went downstairs for Christian to move the car. We both went downstairs. And he noticed the dent and asked if I had done it, and I said no. We went back upstairs, and he told her that there was a dent in her car, and nothing was said for the rest of the night.
That doesn't sound right to me. Somebody told her that there was a dent in her car, and she didn't go downstairs to look at it?
No.
Nobody said anything? Well, who did it? Is everything that you've told me, Miss Mahoney, as truthful as the fact that you don't drive this uninsured car?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't drive my car because it's uninsured and because it's unregistered.
No, you shouldn't drive your car because it's uninsured and not registered. That doesn't mean you don't drive it. Okay. You had a $500 deductible?
Yes, would you like to see the receipt?
You have any other witnesses that you want to hear?
Yes, I do. I have Mr. Nicholas Scandalius. He actually heard her say, he was in the room with both Christian and I.
Oh, step up.
And she actually came up and said, I've hit your car.
Are you another roommate?
No, I'm a very close friend of Mr. Whiteley's. I'm his best friend. I happened to be there at the night that the incident occurred.
Tell me what you remember.
All three of us were hanging out upstairs. Courtney asked Christian to move the car so Lacey could back out and leave. They both went down.
Back out and leave. Where was she going?
I have no idea.
Do you know where she was going?
I believe that she was just going to go to Huntington Beach like usual.
Go ahead.
So they both went downstairs to move the cars and whatnot. Lacey's car was directly in front of Miss Scarfuto's car in a driveway, so there's no way she could have left to right or anything. They promptly both came back upstairs very quickly, and Lacey said, "Oh my God, Courtney, I hit your car." I walked over to the windows. I saw a little dent in the hood, and Lacey's car was still behind Miss Scarfuto's car. That's what I saw, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Sit down. I see the deductible, please, and the damage to the car.
And then these photographs are Lacey's car with the spare tire, which damaged my hood. Pictures of my hood with the imprint of her spare tire, as well as the driveway.
How long did it take to fix the car?
It took 10 days, times $23.99.
So between the $500 deductible and the rental car for the days that it took to fix your car, it was $922. What else?
I'm requesting the money that the insurance paid as well, because I do not believe that Lacey should benefit from the insurance that I pay every month.
Baloney.
Okay.
That's what insurance is for. Ms. Scarfuto. What?
I didn't hit the car.
Yes,
and
you did.
Honestly,
Yes, you did.
no.
You didn't hit the car, and you weren't going to leave in your car.
No, I was
You were
not.
just moving it.
No.
And
I
you
believe...
haven't, and you don't drive your car ever
No.
because it's not registered and you have no insurance.
Yes.
I don't believe you. Can you think of any reason why these two people and this gentleman would lie?
Courtney has been jealous of me and Christian's
I don't want to hear
relationship.
her jealous. Him. Explain
Because
that to
Christian is Courtney's boyfriend.
Right.
And Courtney throws a fit when she doesn't get her way.
And what about him?
Nick is Christian's best friend. And
So everybody's ganging up against you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $922. Thank you. That's all. Step out.
Please excuse. You may step out.
I think she got it hit before she came over and then blamed it on me.
I think that that's ridiculous, and I don't think I'm going to waste my time and my money to come to something like this if I was lying.
She's a really jealous person, and she screams and throws fits and cries all night when she doesn't get her way.
I think that she's just trying to get out of it.
She's just crazy.
I'm glad it's done, and like Rodney King said, can't we all just get along?
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thomas versus Warden. Step forward, please.
21-year-old dispatcher Nicolette Thomas is suing 21-year-old auto detailer Anthony Warden for an unpaid loan to buy a car.
Ms. Thomas, you claim a loan to the defendant in the amount of $1,300 for an old car.
Yes.
But it was a new car to him.
Right.
Why would you loan him $1,300?
He was my boyfriend, and we had been dating off and on for about a year. And I got my income tax money, and I was going to get a new car, but we couldn't share cars because
Were
we
you
worked
living
different
together?
hours. Yes, we were living
You
together.
were living together?
Yes, we were.
Go ahead.
So his boss was selling a Lincoln for $1,600, and he said if we were to give him $1,300, he could drive the car home and just pay the $300 when he gets it. So I loaned him the $1,300.
Well, what did you say to him? And what did he say to you?
verbal agreement.
Shh, listen to me.
Okay.
He came home and said to you, my boss has a car that he's selling.
Yes, and he wanted me to get the car. I didn't want that car. I wanted a new car. I said, well, I can't give you $1,300. I can loan you $1,300, and you have to pay me back little by little.
Is that what happened?
No, ma'am.
I didn't think so. Go ahead.
Your Honor, Nicholas took me through so much.
Listen to me. I have a short life. I'm not interested in what Nicolette has taken you through. I'm interested in the $1,300 for the car. Get to it.
The $1,300 is right here. I put $1,000 down, she gave me, and we paid $300 for the payment. That's the $1,300. Then she drives the car now.
That's the Dodge.
Just a second.
We're talking about the Lincoln.
We're talking about a 1997 Lincoln.
I paid cash for my car.
Mr. Warden, if you're going to be a liar, I'm not going to listen to you. I read your answer, sir. Your answer says that you took $1,300 from her, but it was a gift.
Yes, ma'am.
And now your other story is that you gave the money. It wasn't her money.
She never gave me any loan. I never said that. The money she's talking about is right here.
Mr. Warden, you're really going to irritate me. And Bird doesn't like it when people irritate me, because he doesn't like my reaction when people irritate me. But I can't stand people who lie to me because they think I'm stupid. That irritates me, and then I tend to explode. Now, you don't want me to explode with you, right? You say in your answer, and I'm paraphrasing, she gave me the money because I spent plenty of money on her while we were together. That's what you said in your answer. That's what you swore to in your answer. Want to show this to Mr. Genius over there and ask him if that's his signature? that your signature, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Try to hold it together.
I understand.
Do you understand? Can't always do it. All right. Now, you want to start this all over again?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Your boss was selling his car. You came home and you said to Miss Thomas, what?
I'm going to purchase a car from my boss.
Good. And she said to you what?
That she needed a car also.
And you said what?
That we would finance one, a brand new car for her.
And you would pay cash for yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get the cash from?
My job.
That's not what you said here in your answer, Mr. Warden.
She gave me money on several occasions, but it had nothing to do with a car or anything. We gave each other money.
Well, what did she give you money for at about the time that you bought the car?
Around that time, we were hurting because I was purchasing my car and she was purchasing hers. We did not loan each other anything.
I didn't ask you whether it was a loan, sir. I said, how much money did she give you at around the time that you purchased the car?
Not a cent.
Oh, you two people really deserve each other. You're a liar. You can't follow your own storyline in your head. You said we gave each other money back and forth, and by the time I was financing the car, I was really strapped for money. So I said, how much money did she give you? About that time, you said nothing. You are better off without him. Because he's the kind of guy that will continue to lie to you, but will always be tripping over his tie because he doesn't remember 1 minute to the next what story he's telling you. Do you understand? But this was not a loan. You never made him a loan. You gave him the money. Now, you have this new car that you financed?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's financed in whose name?
Both of ours.
So he's also responsible for it?
Right.
Sounds perfect to me. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm happy with everything. It was dismissed. I'm ready to go on with my life.
He just moved on with his life and forgot that I loaned him that money.
She came to my job and tried to stab me.
Oh, Tony's a mess. The car that they co-signed together, he's stolen.
The car is mine, and she didn't make payments on the car. I had to come get it one time.
I'm just glad it's over.
I'm just glad it's over with.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Scott versus Butler. Step forward, please.
22-year-old homemaker Shalisha Scott is suing her ex-boyfriend, 26-year-old cook Jermaine Butler, for claiming her children on his tax return. Jermaine is countersuing for car damage, stolen clothes, and an assault.
Miss Scott, you and Mr. Butler live together, according to what I've read. You have a child?
Yes, not together.
Not together. How old is your child?
My daughter is 22 months old.
Do you also have a niece that's living with you?
Well, she was in my care previously in 2002.
How old is she?
She's 4 years old.
Why was she in your care?
Just temporarily, just to take care of her.
I asked you a direct question. You have a niece. Is this your sister's child?
Yes.
Was your sister not in a position to take care of her?
No, she just needed some assistance and I helped her.
Does your sister have any other children?
Yes.
How old are her other children?
She has a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 3-month-old.
Was this the only child that was out of her custody? Were they all out of her custody?
No, they wasn't out of her custody at all. I just took care of her.
Miss Scott, according to your complaint, you lived with him, stopped living together. When he left, he took a computer and he took a car.
Yes.
You want the computer back and you want the car back.
Yes.
Those items, you say, were purchased with money that he received from his tax returns. You say he received that money from his tax returns because you allowed him to take your daughter and your niece as dependents on his tax returns. That's why I ask you these questions.
Oh.
So, do you understand?
Yes.
That's what you said in your complaint, that the only reason that these items were yours because you were taking care of a 22-month-old and a 4-year-old that year.
Yes.
So I assume you were not working.
No.
Is that right?
No, I wasn't working.
Right. So somebody was supporting you, your 22-month-old, and the 4-year-old. He says it was him because he was working.
When we got together, Jermaine didn't even have a job until...
I'm talking about the year we're talking about with his tax returns. He had to have had a job because he paid taxes and he got money back.
Me and him didn't get together till the end of 2002. So he didn't take care of my niece at all.
How long did you live together?
We lived together for about 7 months.
Who supported your 4-year-old niece?
I did during this time.
From what?
From about March to about August of 2002.
From what money?
Oh, just welfare, just taking care of her, period. Just having her there all the time, basically.
How did you support yourself before him?
I was on welfare, basically.
And your 22-month-old was on welfare?
Yes.
And the 4-year-old?
She was on her mother's welfare, yes.
Did you claim these 2 children on your tax returns?
Yes, I did.
Is that wrong?
Yes.
Of course it was wrong, because we, as taxpayers, were paying for these children. And how much money did you get back as a result of claiming them on your tax returns?
Approximately $3,000.
$3,000 back. Now, but for these children, would you have gotten any money back?
Yes.
How much?
Maybe less than $1,000.
So let's say you got $2,000 back as a result of fraudulently claiming these 2 children on your tax returns. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's your claim, Miss Scott, that you should be entitled to what you bought with this $2,000, because if it wasn't for you giving him the right to take your daughter and your niece off on your tax returns, he wouldn't have gotten this money back.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Because you didn't work during that time. The only money that you had was provided to you by the state.
Well, actually, in the beginning of 2002, I had a job. I worked.
Well, tell me about your job.
Yes, I was a dental, not a dental assistant. I worked at Wienerson School as a manager.
Okay. How long have you been on welfare?
I've been on welfare since September 2001.
And what year tax returns are we talking about?
2002's taxes.
Fine. Then let's not quibble. The state was supporting you and your daughter. That's the money we're talking about. The state was supporting you, and you had no right to let him claim your 22-month-old or your 4-year-old on his tax returns because the state was providing you with money.
Well,
so what you want me to do is, well, he was wrong, 100% wrong. I hope the IRS watches it and comes back and says, you owe us this money because you're not entitled to take them as dependents. They're not your dependents. You are also not entitled to any part of $2,000.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying that was our agreement we came up with to make extra money. And
you came up with a scheme. You came up with a scheme with him. It was an interesting scheme. I'll give you the law very quickly, Miss Scott. The law says that in order to come into court and ask the court to help you, you have to come in with clean hands. If you come in with dirty hands, which means that you had put your hand down, which means that you haven't done the right thing, you don't get the court's help.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Right. You and he came up with a scheme, and the scheme was to get money back from the government that you didn't deserve, because the government was supporting you, your daughter, and your niece, and as a result of your scheme with him, he got back an extra $2,000. And then you were going to split the proceeds. That's the agreement that you made with him. And your complaint is that he reneged on the agreement because with that money he bought a car, and he bought a computer, and when he left, he took everything back with him.
No, we were in a relationship. So everything that was bought, we bought together. Jermaine was homeless before I met him, so I brought him in thinking that he was going to be an idle husband or a future husband because we were talking about getting married and everything. And I thought that we were going to build on something, but he decided after I became pregnant, everything started getting bad. And he decided to leave.
Your whole story. Listen to me carefully.
I'm just saying.
Listen to me carefully. You're not his wife. You are legally nothing to him. Who are you?
I'm her brother.
I don't want to hear from you. Let me think that at least one member of your family was not absent when they gave out the noodle department, okay? Do you understand? She doesn't get it. Your case is dismissed. You have absolutely no cause of action. You did the wrong thing by permitting him to take 2 people as dependents who were not his dependents. He did the wrong thing. I'm speaking. He did the wrong thing. He ended up with a computer and, according to you, a car that he bought.
For me. That was my
car. That he bought partially from tax return refunds that he shouldn't have gotten, and the IRS may come back and get him. I don't know that. I know certainly You're not getting any money from him because you did the wrong thing. Goodbye. Good luck. Have a happy life. Take your brother with you. I don't want to hear him. I don't want to look at him. I want him out of here.
Why y'all making the income tax the main thing?
Come back one second. Bring him back 1 second.
Everybody back this way.
Just the plaintiff and the defendant, please. Thank you very much.
You two can step out, please. Thank you.
I'm looking at your papers, sir. Listen to me carefully. You have a counterclaim?
Yes.
It's dismissed.
Thank you. It wasn't right that I did claim the kids on my taxes.
I don't think that she was fair.
She stayed out all night long, supposed to be pregnant with my baby, but she gone all night.
He left me pregnant.
She could have been cheating around. I don't know. She saw I'm a good man and tried to use me.
I lost my baby due to all the confrontations me and him had.
Don't trust no girls. Don't live with them. Don't move in with them. Keep all your stuff yours.
Anybody don't believe men that tries to lure you and have you believing that he's going to be a good man because he's probably not going to be.
Ernie Raimundo Sr. and Jr. are suing Nicole Slumberger, who used to date Jr.'s best friend. After the split, World War III broke out. A shotgun, eggs, baseball bat, and a thrown beer bottle.
Order. All rise. Judges, number 71 on the calendar in the matter of Raimundo versus Slumberger. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Are you Nicole?
Yes.
You're...
Ernie Jr.
Sounds to me like you two teenagers are driving your parents and your relatives crazy. That's what this looks like. I got statements here from mothers and grandmothers and aunts and relatives, all saying that you two teenage kids are creating havoc in their lives. I mean, the complaint is your complaint, sir. It says that this young lady here vandalized your house.
That's correct.
And I have a cross-complaint saying that this young man tore up a driveway, did some other damage to your house. Well, what the devil is wrong with the two of you? Let's start from the beginning. Mr. Jr.
Yes.
How do you know her?
She's my girlfriend's ex-friend from high school. They used to be best friends.
So what created some bad blood between the two of you?
My best friend is her ex-boyfriend, and...
Just a minute. I think I'm going to need a scorecard for this one. Your ex-friend?
No, my friend...
Your friend?
Used to be together with her.
Right.
And he's my best friend. And I was together with my girlfriend, and at that time, they were best friends.
Girlfriend.
They were best friends, and we had both broken up with them, and they were kind of, I don't know how to say it, but kind of mad at us for some reason. And at that time, I had got all kinds of prank calls at my house, and just went on from there. And I got my house shot at. I got pictures, and
well, just shot at with what?
At the gun, shotgun,
rifle.
Well, you don't know who did that.
Yes, I saw the perpetrator.
You saw them. Yes. Who did that? Jimmy, but it wasn't her.
No.
What did she do?
He acted under the direction of her.
How do you know that?
Because he called and he admitted.
You can't tell me that. That's hearsay.
That's hearsay. But he called and admitted that he did that.
That's Joe. I just told you. You can't tell me that. That's hearsay.
But that's how I heard about it.
Okay. Now, what did you see her do?
What I seen on the evening of February the 10th, 1996.
You're a senior.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
February the 10th, 1996, approximately 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, this young lady with two of her friends drove by my house, stopped, and got miscellaneous objects, eggs, and threw it all over my house, my garage,
just a second.
My window, got in the truck, and took off.
Just a second. You saw her do that?
That's
correct.
I
also saw her.
And my wife also saw her.
Step up here. You are?
Rosemary Raimundo. I'm his wife and my son. And I did see her that night. It was about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, because we have a glass window. We have flat lights. She was hanging out from the pickup, throwing eggs at our house.
Your Honor, that is
And this continued
incorrect.
the next day, throwing eggs out of my friend Nancy's car, too. She was surrounded
Let's
by her.
start with February of 96.
Excuse me. There's two other girls that were in this truck, and they haven't even brought them into this.
I don't care about the two other girls. Listen to me. You're her mother? Mm-hmm. What's your last name?
Lee.
Miss Lee, let's stop. We're not going to make any excuses here for our children. All right? If your children are acting badly, I don't care if there were 24 other children acting badly in the community. We're talking about your child acting badly. So don't make excuses. Now, You're Nicole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you throw things at their house in February?
I didn't throw things at their house in February. We went out that night and we got eggs thrown at the truck that we were in by Ernie Jr. And then after we were out, we went by my mom's, and as we were leaving, Ernie chased us and blocked us off and busted out the window with a baseball bat of the truck that we were in.
Nicole.
This is before. I'm sorry.
Just a second. Nicole, I don't believe that you didn't throw things at their house.
Your Honor, I did not throw anything at their house.
Were you with some girls in your truck that threw things at their house?
Not that I'm aware of. If they
Even your mother, who said, where are the other two girls?
Well, I don't know that they did it,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying there's two other girls
Let me
involved.
explain something to you. I know that they did it.
Well, I'm just saying there's two
I
other
know
girls
that they did it, and I
involved.
wasn't even there. And I just met you. So you were driving around that night.
I wasn't driving.
And you
Your Honor.
got eggs thrown at your truck. That's what you just told me. You were driving
I
around.
wasn't driving.
Somebody else was
Yes.
driving. You were in the truck, and you got eggs thrown at your truck, and you did nothing in retaliation.
Exactly.
You did nothing.
No.
Please. Did you throw any eggs at their truck?
Oh, yes, I did.
Why?
Because they had threw a soda in my girlfriend's car.
All right. So they threw a soda at your girlfriend's car. Mr. Senior, do you understand where I'm getting at?
Absolutely.
Okay. They threw a soda at the girlfriend's car. He, in retaliation, threw eggs at her truck. She, in retaliation, threw eggs at your house. Right? Now, you get into your truck.
Yes.
After you see her throwing eggs and other refuse at your house, and you take off after her.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
I saw her at the corner, and they began to speed away from me, and it just resulted in a chase. And I finally caught up to him, and I pulled him over, and I got out, and I wanted to find out who were the other two people in the vehicle, and I got out with a bat because I didn't know what I was up against, and I found out that it was just her, Jamie Bowen, and another girl named Vicky, and they had took off real fast and peeled out, and I had swung the bat and broke their window.
Okay, so now she threw a bottle at your girlfriend's car. You egged the truck she was driving in. She came and vandalized your parents' house. You get into your truck, take off after them with a baseball bat, cut them off, and break the window in the truck. What's next?
It's what came before that.
No, what's after that?
Okay, on September of 1996, 97, no, 96. In September of 96, this young lady with some of her friends were at a party. My son...
Were you there?
No, I went over there to drop off...
Were you there?
I was there at the party to drop off the truck to him so you can get a ride home.
Okay, but you weren't there to tell me what happened.
Yes,
at the
I was at a party on
Shh. Mr. Senior, you're not paying attention to me. I cannot take testimony from things that you did not actually witness.
I haven't said anything I didn't witness. I just told you what I did, what I was doing.
So you want to tell me something that happened?
Exactly.
Were you there in
Yes,
September?
I was. September?
So you tell me what happened in September.
September 27th, I was at a party, and I was there, she was there, and my cousin was also there, and they were talking, and there was something premeditated. They were going to come up to me and jump me, which they did. And I got photographs here of a bottle thrown in my face.
Just a minute. How did you know beforehand they were going to come up and jump you?
My cousin, my witness.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Ernie Raimundo Sr. and Jr. are suing Nicole Slumberger, who used to date Jr.'s best friend. After the split, World War III broke out. A shotgun, eggs, baseball bat, and a thrown beer bottle.
Step over there, please.
Oh. I am friends with her friends. Only through school. Nothing between. Anyways, so they were there, and she was standing right by me, and she was talking, and she kept saying, well, where's Ernie? We're going to get him.
Your Honor,
we're going to
that is
go after him.
incorrect.
Oh,
I
my
never
God.
said that.
That's what you were saying.
Nicole,
I was standing right there, and she's just going on and just talking and talking of all the things that they wanted to do. We're here to get Ernie.
That
we want
is
to find him.
incorrect, Your Honor. This is all
and
a lie.
she's telling me,
This
and
is
I'm like
all a
sitting
lie.
there, this is my
Just a
cousin.
second. You're going to have, Nicole, listen to me. you're going to have a chance to tell me your side of the story. Do you understand?
Yes.
Go.
So after that, I went and I told Ernie, I go, Ernie, you know, you should leave now. Or they're here and they want to start something with you. Leave. And he goes, no, I already saw Brian. He said things are cool. Nothing's wrong. I go, okay, but I'm warning you. I think they want to start stuff. That's when I was over there talking to him. We were about maybe 6 feet away. She started yelling they yelled Sabrina, and I turned around, and then they started yelling, is that Ernie? Is that Ernie Raimundo, the one we wanted to jump? And that's when things progressed from there, the bottle throwing, the scratches, everything.
Okay. Sit down. You come over here, please. Now, tell me what happened.
Yes, I got confronted by, which is the guy's truck. I broke his window out. And me and him were talking, and she was right beside us, antagonizing him to, you know, persuade him into fighting.
Just tell me what she said.
She was hysterically yelling, and I turned around, I looked at her, she threw a beer ball right at my face, which gave me 3 stitches, and I got photographs. If you'd like to see those.
I'd like to submit them.
I'd like to see them.
And then after the bottle hit me, me and Brian began fighting, and we fell to the ground, and Brian had got on top of me. And at that point, I was holding him so he couldn't hit me. And at that time, I was getting kicked in the face by Nicole Slumberger. And for about a minute or 2 minutes.
Nicole, did you throw a bottle at him?
I threw a can. I didn't have a bottle.
Can. Well, now at least we're getting to the truth. Now, what happened immediately before you threw a can at him?
Brian confronted him and asked him why he broke out the window. And Brian was chasing him around a truck, kind of, and Ernie was backing up. And I was behind Ernie. And then him and Brian started fighting. And I threw a can. I'm not sure if it hit him or not. There wasn't that much stuff in it. And
did you tell that to your mother? Did you tell your mother you had assaulted him?
Yes, I did.
He had no right to do that.
No, I didn't.
You sure didn't. There's one thing throwing eggs at a house, there's another thing causing this type of damage to somebody.
He had no right to bust out the window of the truck I was in either.
He had no right to throw eggs at his car. He had no right to throw...
I didn't throw eggs at his car.
Yes, you did. He had no right to throw a bottle at your friend's car. Do you understand what's happening here?
I sure do.
Did you have a discussion with your son about it?
I sure did.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
The two of them...
Raimundo Sr. and Jr. are suing Nicole Slumberger, who used to date Jr.'s best friend. After the split, World War III broke out. A shotgun, eggs, baseball bat, and a thrown beer bottle.
I'm going to resolve this case relatively quickly. Miss Lee, let's start with you first. Your daughter has not been doing the right thing.
It's gone on over and over and over for like 3 to 4 years.
It's gotten way out of hand. The truth of the matter is, with the kind of injuries that I see in these photographs, and I'm not talking about, what do you want to show me, a truck?
These are pictures of stuff that they've done to my mom's property.
I'm not talking about property.
Okay.
The two of them, I suspect, have been vandalizing what they may think is pranking property for a long time. I would add that this is not property that either one of you purchased. This is property that somebody else purchased. Because you two don't have the brains to have accumulated enough money to buy a car or a truck or a house or a driveway or anything else. So you two are acting like idiots, and your parents, grandparents, and anybody else's property that you're vandalizing is being forced to pay for it. That's not right. But this is a different story. This takes it out of the realm of even childishness. Because you could have been arrested for this. I'm surprised you weren't.
She was.
Oh.
No, that's
Excuse me.
incorrect.
She was not arrested.
What happened?
She's got two criminal complaints right now pending in Fresno County for miscellaneous vandalism and assault.
It's unfortunate that this lawsuit does not encompass this assault.
It will.
Well, it doesn't, because I've read your papers and you are not suing for the assault. If you were suing for the assault, I guarantee you, your son would receive some measure of damages from this court in the civil action. Right now you have a criminal action pending. But what?
He chases her.
Who are you?
I'm sorry, I'm Shirley Davis. He chases her around town every time they see her, you know, like on the road or whatever. They've been chased to my house in different places.
Listen to me. They're acting like two fools. Yes. Both of them. Both of them. And the adults who are in their lives really should take control of them and force them, each of them, to take care of the damage that they've caused on their own property, the damage that's been caused on their own property. Because, sir, your son had absolutely no right. Listen to me, before you talk. Your son had absolutely no right to break the window on this truck. Listen, do not speak. You're not following me, sir. Your son had no right to egg the truck that she was in retaliation for something else. That kind of conduct escalates into other things. When you act like fools, somebody's going to pay. I want the adults in this case to stop making any excuses for their children. Their children have been doing the wrong thing. You, madam, are going to end up in a lot of trouble. Do you understand me? A lot of trouble. And you're going to deserve it. Now, any damage that has been caused by him to your house, to your mother's house,
correct,
that's in your lawsuit, have your daughter pay for. Let her get a job and let her pay for it. Because she is a precipitating person who caused the damage to her own family's property. Let her pay for it. Do you understand?
Yes.
You, sir, any damage
Your Honor,
that
I have
has,
something to say.
just a second. You're finished saying. Any damage that has been caused to your family's property.
My property.
Your property. Well, your family. Your family's property. As a result of this, you pay for. You got a job?
No, I don't.
Get one. And pay for it, because there is no reason why your father has to suffer from these little acts of stupidity that escalate into other things. Listen to me. And I'm hoping that if you two parents do that, make your own children, but do it. Don't talk about it. Do it. Make your own children pay for the damage. Maybe she will stop. Do you understand?
Yes.
She's got to stop. He's frustrated. You're frustrated. Your mother is frustrated because of what's going on here and the impacts that it's had on her house. He is not blameless, sir. Do you understand that?
I understand what the countersuit says, and she says that I did something to her house and I didn't do nothing to her house.
Just a second. I don't believe that you did anything to her house. I don't believe that you, sir, did anything to her house.
And I have not done nothing to her house.
Listen to me.
Your Honor.
Whatever you... Listen to me.
I'm listening.
You looking?
I'm looking.
You may have started with little things.
There's other friends that she does not like her ex-boyfriend. Don't you ever think that she's not over it? She's obsessed with him or something?
I'm talking about you. Did you egg the truck? Did you egg the truck?
Yes.
Wrong thing to do. You're not blameless. And I don't know what else you did. But I know you egged the truck, and I know you broke the window on the truck with a baseball bat. And I don't care whether you paid for it or not. Those are things that cause other things to escalate. So you're not blameless. You parents better take control of your own children, make them pay for all the damage, and if you do, maybe it will stop. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I have nothing to say anymore. I'm done. I just want all this to stop. I'm finished.
She's 19 years old. She's a grown woman. And she should be responsible for her actions. If he does something wrong, he's going to pay for it. And I think that's the way everybody should be treated.
She's nuts. She's crazy. I've had it up with her already. We drive by. She says a couple of words, sticks her finger out. I mean, it's not going to stop. That's how mental she is. And she needs help.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Ligon versus Anderson. Step forward, please.
Dahl Linon bought 2 ostriches for $7,000 from Teresa Anderson.
On the calendar in the matter of Ligon versus Anderson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
I love it at my stage in life to still have firsts. So this case is a first. I assume you're going to tell me, Miss Ligon, why you bought 2 ostriches.
Oh, to breed them, to make money.
And according to your complaint, you bought 2 ostriches from the defendant's farm, and you paid $7,000 for the 2 ostriches, right?
Well, I can't say I bought it from her.
You bought it from?
I didn't buy it from her.
Who did you buy it from?
I bought it from...
Do you work for...
Yes, I'm representing the ranch.
You're representing the ranch. Who are you?
I'm Teresa Anderson. I'm the manager at the ranch.
Okay. So you bought it from their ranch. $7,000 for 2 ostriches,
yes,
including the cost
insurance
and feeding.
Feeding.
What kind of insurance?
In case that something happened to the bird, that I would get my money back.
Where does it say that in your contract?
Well, I don't know where it says that in the contract, but that's what it's all about.
Agreements, I have them.
May I see it, please? In any event, something happened to one of the birds.
He said that it died.
And you bought these birds, according to you, in May of 1996.
May 15th, 1996.
And when were you told that one of the birds died?
November of 96.
Had you been out to visit these birds?
Yes, all the time when he would let me in there.
So you would go out and look at them?
Yeah, feed them lettuce and stuff like that. But she weren't there.
Okay. Let me just take a look at this agreement.
Thank you.
This says that the client, that's you, shall provide insurance for the birds and make all premium payments from said insurance.
I did.
Who did you purchase the insurance from?
From him.
It's an agreement that we have, or a guarantee that we have here, which I have. If I can also state to you, Your Honor.
She paid an additional $950 for insurance. Let me see the insurance
It's a guarantee
agreement.
that if anything happens to the bird, we replace the bird for the same age, same sex.
Let me see. Okay. Ms. Ligon.
Yes.
Your signature is on this, and it says that should anything happen to either one of your birds, that they guarantee that they will replace that bird with a bird of the same sex, approximately the same age. And they're prepared to do that.
No, he did not.
No, he says he's prepared to do that.
I have the letters right here.
He would not do it, Your Honor. I went out there 3 times.
And what happened when you went out there?
And each time he told me that he would not replace the bird that I picked. He told me to come out and pick the bird. And I went out there 2 or 3 times to pick that bird, the one that I liked, the one that looked like this one here. And he told me that he wanted more money. And I told him that I would not give him more money because he was trying to defraud me.
That's wrong, Your
And
Honor.
I wouldn't give him. I gave him $500, and he told me that the bird died after I gave him the $500 for the feed. And what was I feeding? A piece of paper?
According to the answer, he says that he's prepared to give her a better bird than the bird that she bought.
I have both of the letters right here. I have the letter that she wrote to us on the bird that she wanted. At first, we told her he needed time to think about it. That bird is an older bird, and it's a proven breeder. Her birds are only 2 years old. That bird is a 3-year-old bird. He wrote her a letter back and agreed to give her the bird she wanted.
Oh, great! Just a second.
Where is the letter?
Terrific.
Here's the letter that
Just
he
a
wrote
second.
her.
You're prepared to give her the bird she
can
wants.
have the bird she wants.
Great! What a great way to end a case.
Judge Judy is ready to...
You're going to get the exact bird that you want, Miss Ligon.
No, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
I will not pay no more feed for
No,
anything.
he agrees to give her the bird.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me. You have a contract with them.
Okay. Okay.
You signed a contract.
Okay.
Your contract says that you bought 2 birds for $7,000, including feed, And you took out insurance that if anything happens to any of those birds, they agreed to replace the bird with a bird of the same age and sex. Your bird died.
That's what he said.
Well, listen, he may say you never know whether the bird died or whether he married the bird off to some other bird. However, listen to me, Miss Lagon. You went out there and picked another bird that you wanted, and originally he said he had to think about it. Now he doesn't have to think about it anymore. He's prepared to give you the bird, which is a proven breeder, a year older than yours, and your problem is, Miss Lagon, that I think that you want out of this deal altogether.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't do it. Do you understand? You have a contract. You can't do it. As long as they are prepared to perform their end of the contract, you can't decide at this stage that you want out of the contract.
Why not?
Because you have, Ms. Lagon, because you have a contract.
And I got to fight with these people all the time?
No, you're not going to fight with them.
What do I have to do, Your Honor?
Right now, you're going to have to go out and take a look at your brand new 3-year-old bird. Because you are going to see...
And Your Honor...
Give me the number of this bird.
Have
a number?
Number 456. It's a redneck
Your
bird.
Honor,
It's proven breeder.
When the hatching come up and he tell me that the egg is bad, are you going to stand with me?
I'm going to be here.
Judge Judy returns in a moment.
The way they're supposed to be, she's getting exactly what she wants.
So I am going to get 456, right?
Yes, you are.
And if I have any more problems, I'm going to take you to a higher court.
Then you might as well start taking us to a higher court.
I
if
sure
that's what you
am.
feel, because you're going to
And
change your mind again.
I will not pay you no more fee.
You keep changing your mind.
I won't pay you no more
From the
fee.
very beginning, the day she bought the birds, 2 weeks
And
later,
don't
she changed
stalk
her mind.
me no more. Don't come to my home again.
Changed. Don't touch me.
Don't stalk me no more, okay?
Turned into the odd couple. Now Dana is suing Nicole for not paying the rent.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 18 on the calendar in the matter of Bai versus Mayland.
Thank you, Bert.
No problem, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
You know, if people stopped having roommates, we could probably close half the courts in this country. I'm convinced of that. Miss Bai, the defendant was your roommate.
Mm-hmm.
You had an apartment. The rent was approximately $1,500 or $1,600. Is that right?
$1,560.
And according to you, the defendant moved out.
Mm-hmm.
You left a check for your half of the rent.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
On a refrigerator.
Right.
Everybody leaves checks on refrigerators.
Well, when you don't really talk much and people are going their own way, you just do what you have to do.
So you tacked up the check on the refrigerator. She took the check.
Yes, she did.
You anticipated that she was going to pay her half of the rent. That was the last month's rent for her.
Exactly. It was December. Mm-hmm.
And she took the check, put it in her own personal account.
Yep. And promptly moved out.
So let's go back a little bit. Where is this? I'm curious. Before you decided that you were going to live together, a real commitment.
We had gone to lunch together, her and I.
That was it?
Well, we had met for dinner. I met her husband, and then her and I had gone to lunch together.
She was married?
She's married, yes, Your Honor.
But she was just living with you by herself?
Yes.
So she was separated from her
She's
husband.
separated from her husband, and she needed a place to live.
So you had a dinner and a lunch?
Yes.
And then decided to live together?
Yes.
Did you ever had a roommate before?
I've had roommates for the past 12 years, Your Honor. I have never had a problem like I've had with her. That's why I've never been in court before.
You're one of the lucky ones.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? You moved in when? What month?
We moved in August, and at that time she had a job, Your Honor, and she told me that it would be no problem paying the rent, her half of the rent. I knew how much money she made, and she had somebody that was going to secure the rent for her if she was not able to. And I thought about it, and I said, okay, as long as I know that this man is going to be paying your rent, no problem. Oh, the end of November, Your Honor, I went back east for Thanksgiving to be with my family, and I had left her the rent check. The rent is due on the 3rd. I came back on the 3rd.
3rd of December.
3rd of December, right, which was a Monday, I believe. So anyway, I left the rent check with Ron because Ron stayed at the apartment that weekend to watch my cats.
Who's Ron?
Ron is my boyfriend. Ron stayed there to watch the cats that weekend. Everything was cleared with Nicole prior to that. Everything was fine, no problem.
He was then instructed by me back in New Jersey to give her the check on the 3rd so that way she could pay the rent. That was it. I got back.
So Ron tacked it up on the refrigerator.
That's right, on the 1st.
Okay.
So Ron did my duty about giving her the rent. She had the rent on time. And I do have a copy of the canceled check showing that she cashed the check on the date.
She admits that she cashed the check.
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Had she told you before you went back east that she intended to move out?
Yes, she did, Your Honor. And we had a long conversation about it, and I told her I had no problem with it. It's probably a great idea, but I would like at least 30 days notice from you, and then at that point, you know, you're on your own. Whatever you want to do is fine. And she promised at that point to pay December's rent. So I was going on the premise, I give her my half of the rent since I'm not in town, she's going to pay the rent.
And she was going to move out on the 20th.
Yeah, and then she told me...
Don't shout out here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. She did say that she was going to move out around the 20th of December. When I did return from Thanksgiving, on Monday evening, I spoke with her in the kitchen, point blank, and I asked her if the rent was paid, and she said yes. The next evening, which was a Tuesday, I believe it was the 4th, I was at work until about 8 o'clock. Ron happened to be at the house. She was moving her things out. So she just wanted to get out of that house very quickly without having me around.
Now, you're suing her for $2,959.
That's right, Your Honor. I have an itemization right here of all the fees. This is my half of the rent that she stole, her half of the rent for December that she decided not to pay. There were 2 bills for November, Your Honor, that had not come in the mail yet, that she just took off and did not pay those. There are numerous videos that are missing, plus CDs that she has told me that are at a certain person's house, but she did not get them back. They were not hers to be lent out outside of that house. She charged me twice, Your Honor, for a cable bill, of which I had paid, and I have proof that I had paid it prior to, and she took it out of my rent that she took. Damages, when I had called her a week after she moved, and I said, Nicole, when are you coming back to clean this apartment? She said, with this little snotty remark, that it's not that dirty, you can clean it yourself. And I thought, no, this is not what we were supposed to be doing. We were supposed to be coming back and cleaning this apartment. That was the agreement we had.
Why was the apartment dirty?
The apartment was not dirty. I had spent the week before I moved out painting all of the scuff marks on the walls in my bedroom. I may not have cleaned the bathroom, but I did vacuum, and I may have left the bathroom. I think I left a few cleaning supplies in it.
Could I see that list, please?
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
She gave you a check to pay the rent. You were supposed to put your half in to pay for December.
I never agreed that I would pay December's rent.
You have to pay December's rent, madam. You hadn't given her a 30-day notice.
Dana Bai moved in with Nicole Mayland, but they turned into the odd couple. Now Dana is suing Nicole for not paying the rent.
Miss Mayland. Why did you take her half of the rent?
Dana and I spoke on November 6th, which I did give her 30 days verbal notice. On November 22nd, I wrote her a letter, which I gave her another written notice that I was moving out at the first or middle of the month. We both agreed.
You spoke to her, according to you, on November the 6th.
November the 6th, I spoke to her. I was at home. It was a Wednesday. She left a message on our answering machine at home. Call me. We need to talk. This is after she left. In October, she failed to let you know that she was late on the rent. Her and
no, I was not, Your Honor.
Shh. Miss Pye, now you have to be quiet. Go ahead.
In October, she left a few days before Halloween, and she said she'd be back on Halloween. I told her I would watch her cats. During that month, my uncle died. She failed to call me to tell me that she was going to be 4 or 5 days past what she said she was going to be. Rent was due on the 1st, not the 3rd, late on the 6th.
So what? Listen, don't make a lot of excuses to me. You took the check for $751.
I sure did. I told
Just
her
a second. You took a check for $751 that you knew was intended for her half of the rent. Why did you do that?
Because she owed me for my moving out costs.
What moving out costs?
For the moving in costs. She told me, let me know when you're moving out because I've got somebody to move in, and I will give you back your deposits. The deposits we paid on the apartment in the beginning for the gate keys, the house keys, the keys to get in, and the deposit that you pay to move into any apartment. She said, you move out, I'll give you your deposits back.
Yeah. So just a second.
So
just a second. So she said to you, when you move out,
right,
and you hadn't yet given her a date on this beginning of November date, November 6th. You didn't say, I'm moving out on the 3rd, I'm moving out on the 4th or the 5th.
I said the first week of December or the middle of December. She said, let me know if it's
first
the middle.
First week or the middle, madam,
Right.
does not give her an opportunity to get another roommate for the month of December. That's unreasonable on your part. You understand that?
I understand that.
My second problem with what you did was her check was intended to pay her half of the rent. Right?
Correct.
You appropriated that check. You, in fact, stole that check by taking it and depositing it in your account and saying, well, I'm going to take out what I think she owes me.
Mm-hmm.
And you kept the rest.
And I gave her a cashier's check for the difference.
Well, you know, she's not related to you. You can't just tell her what she's going to do with her money. She gave you a check to pay the rent. You were supposed to put your half in to pay for December.
I never agreed that I would pay December's rent.
You have to pay December's rent, madam. You hadn't given her a 30-day notice. Your 30-day notice, it doesn't say, well, I'm going to be leaving either the beginning of December or the middle of December. That's not a 30-day notice.
From November 6th to December 6th isn't 30-day notice?
No, madam, because you didn't tell her you would be moving out the 1st of December. You said, I'll be moving out the beginning or maybe the middle of December. Because under your scenario, Miss Mayland, she's going to get stuck with December's rent.
That's what she did.
And something that you obligated yourself to take care of.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Dana Bai moved in with Nicole Mayland, but they turned into the odd couple. Now Dana is suing Nicole for not paying the rent.
Now, so clearly you are obligated to give her not only her $751 back, but your $751 for your half of December's rent. Now, what about some...
I'm sorry, excuse me. Is that minus the money I already gave her back? The $300 and...
Did you cash your check?
$53.84.
$353.84. Okay.
From her $751.
And you deposited that check?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Great. Absolutely. That's deducted. Now, what about these videotapes?
I don't know what she's talking about.
She does know what I'm talking about.
Dana has a lot. Up in the loft, she had a lot of boxes filled with a lot of things. I don't touch her stuff. I made it a point not to go in her room.
You mean you never had a conversation with her that you would lend some of these tapes to some people?
I asked her if I could borrow a tape for my sister. One tape.
Yes.
Keep going.
And I brought it back. That's it. That is it. Anything that I had was there. As a matter of fact, she still has some of my things.
I don't have anything of hers, Your Honor.
My leather chair.
Just a second.
No, you left it in the loft, Nicole, because you didn't want to take it with you.
Just a second.
You left it for me
Whatever
to
you
get out of the loft.
If you moved out, and if you didn't want to take a piece of furniture, you just left it there. You should have just taken
well,
it out
I
and put
wasn't
it
going to go
outside.
back to that house after Ron had called my work threatening to kill me and
you moved
Dana
out,
doing
you
all
moved
this other kind
out
of stuff.
without the piece of furniture, clearly indicating to me, Miss Mayland, that you didn't want it. If you would have wanted it, you would have taken it out.
Your Honor,
especially if you were leaving without her knowing when you were going to leave.
Your Honor, Ron also was home the night that she moved, and he also helped them move her things out, which included some of my things.
He did not help anything. Rob was there that night with his cousin. He did not touch a
So
he did
if
not
Rob,
lift
just
a
a
thing.
second. So if Rob was there with his cousin, if you wanted the chair, you would have picked up the chair
You're
and put
right.
it in and put it someplace.
And
not
she's
left
right.
it there.
I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. She's a difficult person to live with. She's
Miss Mayland.
absolutely.
That's a lot of who shot John. You know what that means? That's a lot of baloney. I'm talking about the chair. Something that you gratuitously threw in here. She has my property, she has my chair. You had your husband, you had his cousin, you had yourself. If you wanted the chair that night, you would have taken it out. Don't give me this baloney that what you were going to do is you had to get out fast because you were afraid of him. That's a lot of baloney, which suggests to me that there are more things here that I have to look at.
Your Honor, can I just I was never mad at that time until after I found out she didn't pay the rent.
You want to talk to me, you have to stand up.
Okay.
It's one of the nice parts of my job. Step up here.
I wasn't angry with her because I didn't know that these things were going on. I was so stupid that I was helping them move stuff in the hallway, not knowing that they, first of all, hadn't paid the rent money. We didn't find out until the 10th because Dana had to call to try and change the locks, and the leasing office at that time told us that the rent hadn't been paid, they can't change the locks. That's when I became angry. And yes, I was upset.
You did call my work.
I did. I said hi.
You did threaten a lot of people in my work
Oh, I
and
didn't
me.
threaten your work, Nicole. I just said hi. And I wanted to know how your
don't
day
talk
was
to
going.
each other. Listen to me. Look, I'm looking at a lot of these things, Miss Bai. I'm looking at a lot of these things, and some things I'm not even going to consider. You want half of the rent for January?
She's still on the lease.
She's still on the lease, Your Honor. I have a notice from... I want to show this to the court.
No.
This is a notice that her and I had both gone down and signed to release her from the lease. It was rejected by the office because the rent was not paid, and she is on that lease.
That's
as of this time.
rejected by the leasing office, not you.
Listen to me.
What?
All right, go ahead.
Listen to me. What your verbal agreement with her, according to your direct testimony, was that she was going to be leaving in December. You said fine. So that's what I'm considering. You don't keep adding on. I am enforcing the verbal agreement that you had with her, which is that she was going to move out, and you said fine. But she is obligated, clearly, for December's rent.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Because...
Who are you? You're the
I'm her
husband.
husband, yes.
Do you living together now?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you do, have a fight?
Actually, we got separated for a while,
You had a fight?
basically.
Go ahead.
Okay. When she gave her the verbal agreement or the verbal announcement that she was leaving on the 6th of November.
She didn't give her a verbal announcement she was leaving on the 6th, sir. She did not.
Okay, well, she didn't give her a definite date. That's what I'm trying to say.
So don't give me a lot of baloney. Too smart. Go ahead.
You know what? But when she went in on the 6th of December to go and sign this, she knew what she was doing when she did it.
Who
Miss
knew?
Bai did. She knows.
How did you know what she knew? You inside her head?
No, I'm not saying that, Your Honor, but she signed the paper agreeing to the releasing of her of any obligation to the rent.
What are we talking about now? We're talking about December or January?
December.
Shh. I'm talking
December
to you.
and January, Your Honor.
Sit down. Sit down. Look, it was a bad experience.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yeah,
please?
sure.
Because of what she did, I had tickets to go home for Christmas for 2 weeks to be with my family. Because of what she did, I had to come up with $1,800 to pay for the rent to cover her little fiasco that she decided to pull. And because of that, I could not go home. There were costs that I had put out that I was not allowed to take. I wasn't allowed to have a Christmas this year, Your Honor,
What
because of
about
her.
the death of my uncle, that I did not get to go to his funeral because I had
Nicole,
to
your
take
uncle
care of your
died
cat?
like 2 weeks before.
He did
Please.
not. He died the day
God.
after.
You're such a liar.
You wanna
Listen to
check
me
the
if you're going to
papers?
fight.
I don't have to.
Order.
Please.
Listen.
Tell me when my uncle died.
Listen. Stop making excuses for yourself. You did the wrong thing.
I realize
You did the wrong thing. Well, I'm trying to impress that on you, so stop fighting with her. You're not going to get all of the expenses that you incurred as a result of her paying her rent late. You lost the Christmas. You didn't go to the theater. You're not going to get all that. You're going to get the basics of what she owes you. What was the late fee that was charged?
Your Honor, I put it on there. There was an attorney charge. There was a late fee as well.
Let me find it.
There's a late fee of 10%. That's in our contract.
$156. I'll give her a copy.
All right, it's $156. And attorney's fees, what were the attorney's fees for?
That was the legal fees that they charged me for the eviction proceedings that they started because it was late and I couldn't get the money together to come up with December rent.
Did you, in fact, pay that $175?
Yes, I did. I have a copy of a cashier's check for $1,891 that I had to come in with to bring the rent current.
Got it. Okay, I'm giving you credit for the $353 that you did, in fact,
Thank you.
give her. That brings the total with both the attorney's fees and your late charges. I'm going to get this right, Bert. I am absolutely going to get this right.
You see it first, Judge.
Okay, this is the rent. These are the late fees. This is deducted. This is the late fee.
Right.
Is that the answer?
Absolutely, Judge.
$1,538. That's all.
Parties are
For the
excused. You
plaintiff.
may step out.
Judge Judy will be right back.
She lied about everything. Every single thing. She did not give a notice. She knew exactly what she was doing. She's a very deceitful little 20-year-old. I mean, she had a sugar daddy that was paying her rent, and, you know, and that's where all my
That's why
videos and
she was
everything.
separated,
That's why
not
she was separated.
She's a drunk. I don't pay attention to anything that she says. She's a drunk. She was drunk every night when I came home. She lies about everything. She was confused about the bills every day.
You never came home. You were always sleeping
I
around.
don't care.
You didn't come home.
I really
You know
don't
what, you
care.
want
It's
to attack
over
my
with.
integrity?
Yeah, I'll tell you,
You
Rob,
wanna do that?
your integrity
Hey,
should
you
be
can come
shook,
do it
buddy.
right now. You want to threaten my wife? Come and do it
I'm
here,
not
dude.
threatening your wife. I'm
Hey,
telling you how
called, dude.
foolish you
You
were.
want to do it? You
Dude.
called. You called.
I didn't
All right?
call.
You called.
You
man. You want
called.
to threaten someone?
You
Come and threaten
called.
someone.
You know it. I have
Oh, that's what
witnesses.
you're talking about.
You
Oh, okay,
called.
that.
Anyone,
I made that
anyone
call.
outside, buddy. Let's go.
An angry bride. She says Monique Bray organized her Las Vegas wedding and not only got the names wrong, she ran out of food.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, number 7 on the calendar in the matter of Jackson versus Bray. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Mrs. Jackson, you and your then fiance, is that you?
Yes, Timothy.
Is that your lunch?
No,
It's flowers.
You and your then fiance were planning a wedding. You decided to plan a wedding in Las Vegas. You planned the wedding. The cost was $1,250. Wedding took place, and you say it was a disaster. You want your money back plus
Correct.
a couple $100 for aggravation.
Exactly.
Is that about it?
That's about it.
So tell me about the wedding.
The flowers were in it.
Let's start from the beginning. You say in your complaint that you were dealing with somebody other than the
Right.
defendant at
When,
first.
the first time I called, the main reason there were 11 different chapels on the Chamber of Commerce. They kind of gave you examples of what chapels did, and you could choose one. And the reason I chose the chapel was she was then their wedding planner. Wonderful lady, very detail-oriented, and she was the reason I chose the chapel. We made all of our plans, spent about 4 hours on the phone. All the details, she was just wonderful with me. Anytime I had a question, from February is when I started making plans, and we talked all the way through to August. And she had asked me to call 1 month before the wedding in August, just to make sure all the little final details were taken care of. And when I did, I had learned that she had been let go. And I spoke then with Monique, who couldn't find any of my paperwork.
Who was Monique?
Monique Bray.
Okay.
Couldn't find any of my paperwork, had no record, and said the day was booked. And I said, well, I've already paid deposits. We were supposed to be part of that day. And she said to give her some time, she'd find it, that Linda James had taken it when she had left. And so we went through like 2 hours of planning the wedding all over again. For my inconvenience, she offered me a limo ride from Boomtown, which they normally didn't allow because it's so far out of town. And for my inconvenience, she said she'd send the limo out for myself and my bridesmaids.
And is that where you were staying at a hotel?
That's where we're staying, at Boomtown. We had breakfast early the wedding morning, and we're in our room from 9:15 until 12:30. Limo never showed. I called 6 different times and only received an answering machine on the other end. No calls back. I called Tim back from the chapel to pick myself and my bridesmaids up, which made us late.
Who's Tim?
My husband, my fiancé then.
So you said to him, you better come and get us, otherwise no wedding.
Right, exactly. We called down to the hotel manager a couple times asking, did someone call? Is there no calls? He even called a couple people who had gone home already and asked, were there any calls? And they had said no, not from a limo service or the chapel. So we gave up. Tim drove us there. I had to walk through all my guests to get in because there was another wedding still in process when we got there. The bride's room was not ready for us. It had someone else's things still in there. The water glasses in there they were in the middle of another wedding when we got there. And 1 o'clock was our wedding time, and we got there about 5 to 1 because of the limo problem. But we waited until that wedding was over. Then my guests were seated, who had been there probably at least 20 minutes before the wedding time. And then after the wedding, except for the flowers, which weren't what we were promised, even close. After the wedding went nice. The minister was wonderful. We really liked her. She made the service very nice. After the wedding, we took pictures. And then when we went over to the reception area, found that our guest had just been let in. And we were in the chapel for at least a half hour taking pictures. And they were standing out there. It was about 90 degrees in Las Vegas that day. And no one could find the key to the reception room. And so they were waiting outside. And once we got inside, Martha, who's the assistant for the chapel,
had asked us 3 times walking over what our last name was. We told her Jackson every time. We got right to the reception door. She said, Jackson, right? We said, right. She opens the door and said, introducing Mr. and Mrs. Foster. The only thing she'd gotten right that it was the first time we were introduced as that because it wasn't our name. And then...
How did she fix it?
Laughed.
Well, you must have said to her, that's not our name.
It's like, hello? And she said, oh, sorry, and just kind of let it go. And our friends and family rolled. We're still called the Fosters every now and then by friends and family as a joke. And then when we got in there, into the reception hall, we learned that no one had started with the, I guess, we had only ordered cheese and crackers, cake, punch, and coffee for the reception. And everyone was waiting for us, so we sat down and got right back up when we learned that and went over, and there was a huge buffet table all set up with nothing on it but one tray with a small amount of cheese and crackers. They knew we had 60 people planned, only 57 showed. And that remained what was out. The entire reception was one tray on this huge buffet table with a little bit of cheese and crackers on it. And I do have video that we brought with that shows 30 people standing in line, this huge buffet table and this little tray about this big with cheese and crackers on it.
Let me see your video.
Of course. It's very short and to the point.
Good. That's the way I like it.
Okay. And this was the line of people. That's all that was ever put out for 57 people. That was the first tray, and there was a second one that was exactly that same that was set out. And that was it. Although they did say in their answer letter that they put out vegetables and dip, which never happened. It must have been another one that had a problem. But all these people are waiting for that one little plate. It was gone 10 people in. You can see all the people waiting for that one little tray. To say it was embarrassing is just mild. And everybody asked, are they not putting out more food? Guests, including my brother-in-law, had gone up and asked, do you not have more? We paid for $150 worth of cheese and crackers. We maybe got, according to what Price Club we went and looked, we got about $16 worth.
Judge Judy will be right back. Diane Jackson is an angry bride. She says Monique Bray organized her Las Vegas wedding and not only got the names wrong, she ran out of food.
So then let's start out with the limousine. The limousine never came to pick them up.
Actually, when my limousine driver showed up at Boomtown at 12:15, there was no way to reach this lady.
Just a minute.
We had the room number 2031.
Listen to me. Why did your limousine driver arrive there at 12:15?
Because that was the scheduled pickup time.
The scheduled pickup time was 12:15 for a 1 o'clock wedding?
Yes, madam. I drive them 45 minutes beforehand so they have a chance to change in the chapel. My brides do that.
How long a ride to it is from Boomtown to the chapel?
Probably half an hour because
So
it's
what that gives them is 15 minutes to get into their wedding gown and to get freshened up with makeup and to do their hair. Is that what you're telling me?
Most of my brides get one half hour. However, in this case, Boomtown is way out of the traditional area that we pick brides in. And so I wanted to compensate for the problems she had had with Linda and not finding her file and so on. So I went out of my way to accommodate her.
Let's pass by this limousine. The limousine was a disaster because there's no question about that.
Do you accept pictures of
what?
weddings? Of the wedding?
Oh, of course. I just saw her picture.
Okay. These are the photos that the photographer
took of their wedding.
Of their wedding.
The post picture.
And also, this is the wedding package that they purchased. This is like our brochure that we would send out.
Well, show it to her first. See if that's the package.
Actually, her package was
a little better.
No, that wasn't my package, no.
It was your package plus more
Don't
photos.
tell her, just a second, don't tell her it was. She says it wasn't. I can't see it if she doesn't say it was.
Bigger.
Give it back to them.
You got more than we're offering right now.
What ours was for $3.99. It was called Blissful Pleasures.
Right, we changed the name.
A little better.
Okay.
Okay.
A little more elaborate.
Can I see what you have, please? What you agreed to?
Down here at the very bottom.
Blissful Pleasures, $3.99. Where does this talk about cheese?
We had nothing from the reception, nothing in writing.
Oh, you didn't?
This is a separate issue. This is only the wedding
That's
that you're holding
specifically
there.
what happened in their hour in the chapel.
Okay. Actually, 24 minutes.
That's the wedding.
Listen to me. Mrs. Jackson. You have nothing in writing with regard to how much food was going to be presented at this
Of course she
wedding?
does.
Well, do you have a copy of yours?
We do.
Can I see? Can I see, please, what you have, your contract with regard to the...
Except this is an a la carte prices for things.
No. I want to see what they have. They should have copies.
These aren't the flowers anyway, so I might as well hand you both those at the same time.
Does this look familiar to you?
I was never sent any receipts for the reception.
That's what I want to see.
She received all her copies. I don't have them.
Does
in
that
here.
look?
I got them the day after the wedding, and all I
Does
got
that,
was here.
just a second. Did you receive that before?
Oh, no, I've never seen this before today.
Well,
she has her copies.
How do you know she has her copies?
Because I don't have them.
Listen to me.
They were given
What
to
I don't
her.
what I don't understand is, I've had a couple of weddings, and I made a couple of weddings. If you understand that. And when you talk to a caterer, what you usually do when somebody is catering a function, you sit down before, you do it over the phone, you have a list of what exactly is going to be served.
That was all done.
Well, but you show me where, madam. This has the date of the wedding. This is date. Listen to me, Miss Bray. It's dated the date of the wedding. Do you understand?
That's the day of the wedding is up there. Excuse me.
Hold it, please.
The date of the wedding is always at the top of the receipt
That's
to identify that wedding.
Let me explain something to you. That's a lot of baloney.
Judge Judy will be right back. Diane Jackson is an angry bride. She says Monique Bray organized her Las Vegas wedding and not only got the names wrong, she ran out of food.
Are we dealing with the wedding now or the reception?
Forget the reception. We're past the reception. We're to the cheese
the reception
platter.
we haven't even reached yet.
No, Miss Bray. I've reached it.
Okay.
I've reached it.
May I please, Judge, you didn't hear my side of the story
About
on the
what?
reception?
The only thing I heard, the reception, you mean with the cheese and crackers?
Madam,
That's right.
Madam Judge, this is what she ordered, is one tray of crackers. She paid $75 for it, and she received 3 of them because I was embarrassed for the bride. As a matter of fact...
Miss Bray, I want you to listen and stop talking. I just said to you, I've passed the ceremony in the limousine.
Right.
I'm to the food part of the reception. I'm to the food part of the reception. I want to see, if you have it, the contract that Mr. and Mrs. Jackson signed outlining what they would receive for their $576. Not your receipts, but what you or your representative signed. And if you don't have that, just say, I don't have it.
You don't have that.
We don't have a
That's
signed
it.
receipt by... However, she did order a punch and cake reception for $499 for an hour and a half in the reception room. She had additional guests she had to pay for. She ordered for $75 cheese and cracker tray.
That's incorrect.
Martha at one point came to see me and said, I talked to Diane and I told her,
where's the
it's
veggie tray?
lunchtime. Veggie tray, I didn't charge her
Just a
for.
second.
I put it there.
Just a second. She said it wasn't there.
It was there. It was put towards the end because I was embarrassed for her.
Where is? Shh, just a second. Where is it?
It wasn't charged for.
I don't care whether it was charged for or not. It's what you agreed to. I want to know whether it was.
Agreed to.
No,
It was
I
just
gave it to her
extra.
out of the kindness of my heart because I felt sorry for her.
No.
That one cheese and cracker tray
Listen
that
to
you
me.
saw.
Miss Bray! On your own receipt it says large veggie tray.
That was given.
No charge.
It doesn't make any difference whether it was no charge or not. You know, you make a wedding and sometimes you go in and the caterer says, and I'm going to give you at no charge one humongous ice sculpture of a swan and one chopped liver mold in the shape of a goose, you know, and they mark it no charge, all right? But here it says that this is what you were giving them, a veggie platter, whether you charge them or not, and all I want to know is, was it furnished?
Yes, madam, it
I have
was.
60 witnesses that can tell you there was never a piece of vegetable.
Well, I
there.
certainly didn't see any veggie platter on the
There was
video.
none. I made up this
Just a
receipt
second.
for
Well,
you.
was there, Miss Bray, was there a veggie platter? It didn't show it in there. that I just saw, or wasn't there a
Judge,
veggie platter?
is it possible for me to tell you my side of the story?
No, I just want you to answer my questions, Miss Bray, because I get information. I get it my way.
Okay.
Was there a vegetable platter, or was there not a vegetable platter?
There was a vegetable platter.
Where was it?
It was put out half an hour before the end of the party because there was no more cheese and crackers to be had.
I've been on their case for a while because I honestly believe that, based upon this, you didn't exactly get what you bargained for.
True.
Okay? But what you bargained for was cheap. And I'm going to tell you that if you have 60 guests, including the minister, was the minister paid for included
I
in
paid
this?
it extra on site.
Okay. You had the chapel, the use of the reception room for
$1,250.
For the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
for the whole business, $1,250. And that's including food for 60 people.
It was supposed to be enough for 60.
But you know, I mean, you're an intelligent woman. For 60 people, when you include the cost of the reception room, the chapel room, I don't care what kind of flowers you have. I don't care if you have 3 little whatever. You had little flowers. You had little flowers. Your bridesmaid had little flowers. He had a wilted carnation, whatever it was. You don't get a lot of wedding for $1,000 for 60 people, Miss Jackson. Now, did you ever tell her that the food that she had purchased was insufficient?
Yes.
But I'm not talking to you. Did you ever tell her that the food that she had purchased was insufficient for the number of guests?
Our facility
No!
did.
Did you
I
ever
did not
tell her?
personally, no.
That's all I asked you. Did you?
Yes.
No.
Oh, you did? Tell me when.
I know for a fact.
The judgment in this case is, listen to me,
Okay,
you're
fine.
not going to answer my questions, madam, and you may think that you're a smart business lady, but you are not a good witness, because a good witness answers a judge's questions directly. And my question was a very simple one. A 6-year-old could answer it. Did you personally ever tell this woman that the food that she had ordered was insufficient for her number of guests?
No.
Bow, we're getting down to business. All right. You got married. Looks to me as if you and your husband looked lovely. You're going to have a very long life together. I could tell that because he hasn't opened his mouth once. You were disappointed. You had the first hour that you had waiting for the limousine, getting sweaty, you took a shower, you started to get huffy, your hair started to go limp, your makeup started to fade. All those things happened, right? Sure. That was not the right thing to happen. They did not plan properly. They were shuffling around with their limousine, trying to get him to do 2 or 3 different things. In any event, they didn't do the right thing to get you there so that you were totally comfortable. For that, you can be compensated marginally. They did, in fact, provide a wedding chapel room for you. They did, in fact, provide a reception room for you. And you did, in fact, Mrs. Jackson, order cheap.
The judge is ready.
I don't believe that the defendants furnished this vegetable platter, and they had promised you this vegetable platter because it's right on this list, and I didn't see it on that video. I believe that it wasn't there. I believe that you were a little embarrassed. Part of the responsibility for that rests with you because you really didn't order enough. You may have been given bad advice, but you didn't order enough. They realized that they made a mistake. I think that it's very disconcerting a month before the wedding to call up and even be told once, I'm sorry, we don't have your name here. And I have to go and look and find out if there's a file. I mean, to you, it's just one wedding of many. To this lady and to her fiancé, it's more important than that. So the fact that you didn't return her call for a couple of days after she originally called is not good business. If you fired somebody because they were an inept employee, you have the responsibility to make it right. And it certainly wasn't done in their case. I don't think that you're going to get the whole cost of your wedding back because I don't think that that's reasonable. I certainly don't think that any of the other aggravation expenses that you ask for are reasonable either, because part of the responsibility for this inexpensive wedding has to rest with you and has to rest with your husband. But I am compensating you, at least in part. So I am awarding you $300. That's all.
Excuse you, may step out.
Judge Judy returns in a moment.
We got taken here. We really did. Our reputation is very valuable to us, and these people did not tell the truth.
We'd never recommend the chapel to anyone.
It's 3 carnations, some plastic leaves, and a handful of ribbon.
You get what you pay for, right?
And now, the next case.
Parties on Day versus Pryor. Step forward, please.
James Day says he put up some money for Kathleen Pryor to make a commission in a property deal. She didn't have to pay him back as long as they were dating. They split.
Mr. Day, you allege in your papers that Miss Pryor owes you about $4,500, $3,100 of which was for some convoluted business deal that I, quite frankly, couldn't understand from your papers. And you're going to tell me about what the rest is for. She says that you dated for a long time. Whatever money that you gave her were gifts while you were together. You didn't ask her for the money back until when?
We broke up.
Okay. So, let's hear about these loans.
Sure. Actually, I have some checks, canceled checks, of which it says loan on the bottom of the checks as a memo.
Let's start from the beginning.
Canceled checks. What the situation was, Your Honor, was that Ms. Pryor was in severe financial trouble to the extent that her landlord was talking about evicting her. Her car payment was not being paid.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Her car payment was not being paid, and she was a couple months behind on it, and she was very scared that it was going to be repossessed. And
were you dating at the time?
Actually, we were not at that point in time. We had gone out on one.
I'm sorry.
We had gone out on one date. We had gone to a basketball game, and we'd been friends for quite a while.
How long is quite a while?
Over a year. Over a year. And after the basketball game, you know, there was a situation that occurred, but it certainly was not a dating situation. And she came to me and asked for money because she was in a very bad state. And I said, not a problem. I'll lend you, you know, I will not give you money, but I will pay bills that need to be paid to get you out of the situation.
So what did you pay for her?
Well, I actually wrote a check to, actually it was for cash because she didn't want to make it out to the landlord, but it says on the bottom of the check that it was for that purpose, which was $700.
Do you have that check?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
And then the second one, Your Honor, was a $345 check that closed out a bank account of hers that was, the way she described it, continuing to accrue bounce check fees because she had written a lot of small checks on this account. So every time a check cleared, there was an $18 fee that was posted to the account. So it was kind of a situation where if it wasn't closed out, then there were fees that were going to continue to accrue on this. So, you know, I felt that, you know, that's fine. I understand $1,000 was not a big deal, and I knew that she had the capacity to pay that back.
Okay.
Going forward, after that money was paid, she wanted me to look into a business transaction of hers, of which she was supposed to get paid $3,120 once the deal was consummated.
What kind of a deal?
Well, essentially, she was buying a property under a straw name, and in order to do that, she was getting paid 2% of the loan value, which was $6,120, of which Mr. Shetty fronted her the first $3,000, which is half of the deal. And
See why I couldn't understand it?
I'm sorry?
See why I couldn't understand it? Is this your business?
No, it's not, Your Honor.
But you understood this right away.
I understood the property transaction. It was very cut and dry, very simple.
Not to me.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
All right. She was going to lend somebody money.
No, not one bit. What was happening was they were buying a property in her name. Satish and Kathleen were buying a property in Kathleen's name. And Satish buys distressed real estate. He fixes it up and then resells it for a profit.
So why was he buying it in her name?
Well, when you do 40 or 50 or 60 transactions at a time, you can't put them all in your name.
We do it jointly with people who would like to do business with us. And she wanted to do business with me, and she said, we'll do it.
Okay. And then she was going to get $3,120 back as a commission.
No,
correct.
$6,120.
Right, of which the first $3,000 was fronted to her. And I was given Satish's word that he would front that money back to me once it was paid, and I would loan her money against that $3,120. So, you know, that's where you come up with the amount of approximately $4,000.
So what happened with this $3,120?
He never paid.
She did not. She took the property and kept kept with her.
What happened?
Actually, what happened was Kathleen had agreed to sign over the property to Satish, and at that point...
So I could sell it.
Why don't you step up here so we...
At that point, he
I
was
need
gonna
you,
cut-
you're there.
At that point, he was going to write a check to me for the $3,120,
Okay,
which he
so-
did.
All right. So that now the property is in her name.
Yes.
And she's supposed to sign it over to you.
Right.
Or sell it.
Or
Together.
sell it to you.
Right. At that point, I was
And
to
then
receive the funds. Right.
And you advanced her the funds.
Money against this transaction, correct.
So what happened?
Well, Satish wrote the check as he said he would, and Kathleen backed out of the deal 2 days after the check was written, thinking that Satish was stuck and he was going to get stuck on the money. Well, Satish just put a stop payment on the check because they normally don't clear for 5 or 6 days, and the money was taken back out of my account. So I was standing there in the middle of their transaction where I had been the nice guy lending her money because she needed it to pay bills, which every check
Well,
that
why did you back out of this deal?
I didn't, Your Honor.
Where is the property? Who owns the property?
To tell you the truth, yeah.
To tell me the truth? Of course you're going to tell me the truth.
Well, no.
Who owns the property?
Of course, I do.
Well, that wasn't the arrangement.
Well, I'm trying to sign it back over to him right now, but he hasn't paid the money he owes me. My attorney's working on it right now.
Just a second. You were supposed to...
That's not true.
Yeah, that's true. The right word they used was necessarily. That was probably right. But meanwhile, he got stuck in the middle. He
Well-
advanced this $3,120, didn't he?
He agreed that
Did
would
he or
collect-
did he not?
He did.
And so he advanced
And
the
then now these two
$3,000.
are-
Just
I'm
a
sorry
second.
to-
He advanced the
sorry to
$3,120. He's out $3,120, and you've got the property. All right, let's get to the $700 in cash. You say that these were not loans.
He kept saying when we were dating, oh, you really don't have to worry about paying me back, as long as we're still dating, this and that, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it.
So?
And so then all of a sudden I said we weren't going to see each other anymore, and he's like, oh, well, now all of a sudden he slaps a lawsuit on me.
Listen to me. Miss Pryor, you said the operative word. Just a minute, I'm finished with you. Sit down.
Okay.
Good. You said the operative word. Even according to your own statement. Let me read it back to you because
Okay.
I have a photographic mind.
Sure, thank you.
You said that he told you, as long as you're dating, you don't have to pay the money back to me. That's what you just told me.
So we're not dating anymore.
So you're not dating anymore.
I see.
Right?
That's true.
So that's not a problem. That doesn't seem to be a problem. Listen, you're one of the few people that I've had in court in the last 6 months who, when they give money to a boyfriend or a girlfriend, is smart enough to put on the check, loan. Listen out there, all you boyfriends and girlfriends. Loan on the check is a good thing. Give this back to him. Miss Pryor, you have to do the right thing. You owe him this money. It appears to me that he advanced it in good faith because you were either friends or you were romantically involved, whatever it was, he was being a nice guy. If you're no longer romantically involved, you have to do the honorable thing. You have to do the honorable thing whether you're a guy or whether you're a gal. And the honorable thing is to pay him. And you owe him $4,165 judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
It's fine. I mean, as long as I don't have to deal with this anymore, I really don't care.
Hope she's learned a lesson that you can't use people for money and play the sex card.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Gilbert versus Lee. All parties on Gilbert versus Lee. Step forward, please.
Brandy Gilbert says she gave her boyfriend money for a car and half the cost of a romantic cruise that never was. Now she wants him docked.
Ms. Gilbert, according to your complaint, you had a short-lived romance with the defendant here. Romance lasted about 6 months. During that time, you lent him some money at various times, about $1,500. And then your romance is over. Doesn't want to pay you back. What did you lend him this money for?
$150 was for a warrant that he couldn't pay for.
What else?
$200 for a cruise we were both supposed to go on.
Where was this cruise to?
To the Bahamas.
Did you go?
No, we didn't.
How come?
Because we were going to go in a year, and it was just putting down the money for the down payment.
Did he ask you to put down the down payment?
Well, he paid half and I paid half. But he's taking someone else now. With
On
my
your
money.
deposit?
Yes.
You're taking someone else on her deposit? How unchivalrous of you, Mr. Lee.
That's not true, Your Honor.
You going on the cruise?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. What else?
And then $1,150 for a down payment on a car.
Does that have a ring to it, sir?
A ring? No, there was no ring involved, Your Honor.
No. I mean, does the amount for a car have a ring to it? To your ring in your ear?
Yes. Yes.
So what about that money for the car?
When I needed anything, she decided to do it because that's what she wanted to do.
So you think that these were all gifts, that she was just trying to please you?
Yes, exactly.
Let me see if I can quote, because I found your answer that you gave me quite unchivalrous. You said she did so because, quote, I want to take care of you.
Yes.
Why would you want a woman to take care of you, sir?
I didn't. She decided that she wanted to.
All right. Now, Miss Gilbert, you say that after you broke up or with the defendant or he broke up with you, it's really not particularly relevant, that he gave you a bad check.
A week later, he called me to his house and decided that he didn't want to be with me anymore, wrote me a check that says on the bottom for repayment of debt.
That's not true.
And
Where is that check?
It's right here.
Can I see it, please?
So I went to my bank and went to deposit and thought twice about it, went to his bank to try to cash it, and they told me he didn't have an account there. I talked to the bank manager, and she said that the account had been closed.
You can't tell me what the bank manager said, but they
Well,
refused
I
to
got a
honor
letter
the
from
check.
them that says his account was closed.
Can I see it, please? Letter from the bank I'll take. They have no interest in this case.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Yes.
She showed up at my house, Your Honor, unannounced. Okay, I had company at the time. She called and asked me if she could come over. I told her no, and she showed up anyway. The check was written more or less to patronize her. I told her, here, you want a check? You can have 5 checks. You can have as many checks as you want, but it's not going to do you any good. There's no money in the account, which she was aware of. She was aware during the time we were dating that I did not have a checking account, that the account had been closed.
What? How would she know that your account had been closed?
Because there was something that had been discussed.
Did you remember discussing
Yes,
with?
He actually told me that we did, but when I went over to his house, I said, I thought you didn't have an account. And he said, I lied to you because of my past relationship.
Why do you think she would have gone to the trouble of going to your bank, sir, if she thought that this was a rubber check?
Wishful thinking?
Well, let me tell you this, sir. I think it's wishful thinking on your part if you think that you're going to get away without paying her back what you owe her. That's wishful thinking. All right. You clearly borrowed this money from her. The amount is exactly what she says that you owe her.
That was just an amount that I threw out there. I, to tell you the truth, don't know how she came to that amount.
Well, who wrote repayment of debt?
I did.
Right! You owe her the money. It's not, the relationship is over, it's over. But you have to take care of your responsibilities. This is a responsibility that you had. Who's driving around in this car?
I am.
Good. You drive around in this car with other dates, other ladies?
Yes, I do.
That's pretty irritating. She paid the down payment on it.
Well, that was something that she decided to do of her own free will. I never asked her to do
Baloney.
this.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
I'm very happy she ruled the right way. He owed me the money. Still dislike him completely. He got what he deserved.
I don't have a thing to say to her. That's it. It's over. Water under the bridge.
Party's on Parker versus Parker. Step forward, please.
Richard Parker divorced his mail-order bride, Pia, after 6 years. Now, he wants her punished for filing a false police report.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, it's number 94 on the calendar in the matter of Parker versus Parker. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
I found your complaint and your response fascinating in this case because I've never dealt with a couple whose marriage was arranged through the mail. And it seems to me that that's the way you met. Is that right?
Well, we did meet in person. We met through the mail, and then I went to her country and met her in person, and then I came back and we corresponded some more, yes.
You married?
Yes.
You have a child together?
Yes.
A girl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you divorced?
Yes.
And you are suing your ex-wife because you say that she filed a false police report against you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Causing you to pay in counsel fees of $3,000 to defend that action. She subsequently either withdrew the action or the district attorney decided not to proceed with it for some reason, which I assume people will tell me. And then you tacked on an additional $2,000 for mental stress. Correct?
You've got it, Your Honor.
And on your side, Mrs. Parker, you are countersuing. I couldn't quite figure out what you're countersuing for. For some money so that you can set up a new home for you and your daughter, for furniture and
He's holding
things.
my furniture and appliances. Plus, he put me through a battle of custody. He's trying
Custody
to get
battle.
Custody battle. He's trying to get full custody of my daughter. I have the physical custody of my daughter. So he put me through such a distress. I had to hire an attorney to defend the custody of my daughter. So he's the one who's putting me through all this stress. He's the one who's doing
Well,
all this.
Mrs. Parker, let me explain this to you so that you'll understand why I'm not entertaining your countersuit. You were divorced.
Yes.
Your judgment of divorce should have finalized all the property that the two of you accumulated during your marriage. That's what a divorce does. It finalizes the property aspect of what each of you had. So, and you were represented by an attorney in that divorce?
Yes.
Well, then that's what your attorney was supposed to do. Supposed to make sure that whatever maintenance, child support, or anything else, and custody of the child was taken care of in
Your
that
Honor,
judgment of divorce.
May I intercede for a minute?
Yes.
Several months ago, it was about 5 months ago, when I was over at her apartment to see my daughter, and I could obviously see that she was going to be moving. There's boxes all over the living room, and you could see that somebody was going to be moving. And I said, "Is Mommy moving?" to my daughter, and she says, "Yeah." And I said, "Where's she going?" And I said, "Where are you going, Lynn?" And she says, "I don't know, maybe Westminster, maybe Downey." She didn't seem to know. I said, "Well, look, I've got 2 bedrooms. I got 2 vacant bedrooms in the house." I says, "For the sake of the daughter," I says, "why don't you come back here and rent those from me, and the rent will be cheaper than your apartment. You won't have any utilities, and such and such." So she did, and she did bring some stuff. Some of what she's saying is her property is really my daughter's bedroom set. I do have a refrigerator, but that's all been settled in a small claims action that I won. She left owing me some money. She plugged into my phone and made long-distance phone calls.
So that matter has been resolved.
That's been resolved, really.
In another action.
Yeah, and it's not $5,000 worth. There's a refrigerator and a couple.
Do you have those papers from
I
these
believe I
other
do.
actions?
I believe I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it.
I'm sorry.
Do you understand that?
It wasn't resolved about my property and appliances, and all he's talked. Well, he told you it hasn't been resolved.
You told me that the furniture was contemplated in this action.
No, it's not.
All right, then I'm not interested in this. You have her furniture there. Just a second. Okay, you have her furniture there. Bedroom set. That's your daughter's. Refrigerator and entertainment center. Those are the things that she brought into the house?
No, Your Honor, first of all, the entertainment center is not there, and all it was a shelf. I mean, it's not like a major...
Where is it? Where is it?
I had another roommate that took it.
Well, then you have to replace it. Bedroom set, refrigerator. How much did you pay for this entertainment center. Make sure you have the bill for it.
Entertainment center. Yeah, $150.
Can I see the bill, please?
I don't have the bill, but it's entertainment center. It's just the shows where to put the TV, VCR, and books and videos for my daughter. It's like around $150 is all my sister paid for that. That's my sister's entertainment center. She gave it to me as a gift when we were living in Huntington Beach after the divorce.
Fine. I'm going to fix a value of it of $100.
That's
should not have let somebody else take it away, sir. All right,
You-
listen
you
to
want
me. Listen to me. What else?
Yeah, and he has sued me.
What other property? I have a refrigerator, a bedroom set, and an entertainment center. Come.
Okay, the vanity said like.
I don't want to hear vanity. That's all part of your daughter's bedroom furniture.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Period. Miss
That's
Parker.
Yes, let's get to the case that we are here for.
Well, we're here for both because she has a counterclaim.
Yes.
We're here for both because she has a counterclaim.
Yes.
Just so happens that I'm taking
Well,
care
my
of her
child-
counterclaim first. Listen to me, Mr. Parker.
Yes.
You are to return to her within 48 hours. You can make arrangements and have somebody come to pick it up. Pick a mutually convenient time. The entire bedroom set, which includes the vanity, the night tables, the mirror, and your daughter's bed, that is to be returned to her within 48 hours. The refrigerator is to be returned to her within 48 hours at the same time. We understand each other, Mr. Parker? Yes. I'm going to hold off on this $100 for the entertainment center until I hear your part of the lawsuit against her, because you are suing her for substantially more than $100 in cash. Now tell me about this restraining order. Was a restraining order that she had against you?
Your Honor.
She had a restraining order against you?
She had a restraining order against me, but not against my daughter. I had the right to talk to my daughter. And here it is. This is from the court where they denied it. They scratched out Shara Parker, which is my daughter.
Let me see the restraining order. So you had a restraining order so that you weren't supposed to go near her, be around her. Is that right?
Right.
Judge Judy will be right back. Forced his mail-order bride, Pia, after 6 years. Now, he wants her punished for filing a false police report.
Now, is this the order of protection that you were forced to retain an attorney for, sir?
No, ma'am. It's
So
not.
then let me... Go ahead, let me hear.
Your Honor. This all boils down to I don't want
Just, no, don't boil
she
it
filed,
down. She filed this restraining order.
She filed that restraining order.
And then what happened?
If you look in the next page, there's a telephone bill there.
Yes.
About the ninth line down, I may have it checked off and read. A 1-minute phone call. When she left my house, I told the police, I said, I called the police when she was leaving. I called them. And I said, she has no right to harbor this child from me and take her from me. And she's done it before. She's taken off in these wild tangents and disappeared for 6 months up to 2 years. And I said, she has no right to do that. And I want to know where my daughter is. And so they went out and they got, she'll deny this, because I don't think she remembers it. They got the address where my daughter would be and a phone number. Now, that phone number there for 1 minute on the 9th was a phone number. It's never been her phone number. It was a friend. And I thought that's where her daughter would be. And so I called that number to talk to my daughter. What was the date of that phone? September 9th, I believe?
The date of the phone call was
a few days
September
after I
9th.
got back from vacation with my daughter. I call it. She yells and screams, "What right do you have to call me? You have no right to talk to me and call me." No.
Just a second. Did you answer the phone when he called?
Yes, I did.
What did he say to you and what did you say to him?
Oh, Elena, you're there. I found you. I know where you are at. I know where you are at. You're making a big mistake. You're making a big hole, digging a big hole. I know where you are at. And I say, don't call me. You know, how did you know my phone number? He said, the police gave it to me. But Your Honor, I'm sorry. This is not the first episode of. This is not the first time I put a restraining order. He beat me up, and I had to put more than one restraining order in the past. This is not the first restraining order. This is the first time he has been served. He has been served. I have a history of the episodes of violence, domestic violence. He absolutely punched me on my nose, and a trip going to Yellowstone Park.
Are you telling me, sir, that based upon that 1 minute phone call,
That's
you were arrested?
exactly what I have.
All right. When were you served with the restraining order, sir?
It
Before
was,
or after you made the phone call?
It was before.
Well, if you read the restraining order carefully, sir, it says that you shall not contact.
Yes.
Contact.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't say, this is an all-inclusive restraining order, even though it's a temporary one in character. It's a temporary one, but it says you shall not contact her. That's what it says.
My understanding is, though, that for my daughter, that I was allowed. This was, I was not to contact her, but down at the bottom of the page where they scratched it out and said denied, where she tried to get it where I couldn't call my daughter, it was scratched out.
No,
I did have the
no.
right to talk to my daughter.
No. Bottom line is, what happened to this restraining order when you went to court? You were arrested because you called the house.
I was not arrested, Your Honor. I was not arrested.
So how did you? What caused you to hire an attorney over this phone call?
She said because of that 1-minute phone call that I threatened her, threatened to kill her, she felt afraid, and all these accusations that she's been doing for years to me, for years. And I'm tired of it. And she went down to the police department and made all kinds of false accusations. The police turned it over to the district attorney's office. The DA files charges. And when they looked at the whole picture, which I'm trying to explain to you, they dropped it. They just dropped it. But there is a history to this, and if Your Honor would allow me...
What is this tape you want to show
allow me
me?
to...
Can you... Yeah. There is a history of harassment.
Just a second. What is this tape that's supposed to...
That tape is a year ago, 95, before summer vacations, and 95. He did the same. He made a big deal before vacations with my daughter, with my little daughter. He always make a big deal. He thinks every time that comes for vacations, I'm going to hide my daughter. So he made threats on the phone. He harassed me on the phone.
Yeah, I'm curious. Were they very serious? Were they very serious threats?
Yeah,
Just a second. Were they very serious threats?
Yes, they are very
serious. As very serious as everything else you've told me, Mrs. Parker?
Yeah.
Good. I want to hear it.
Judge Judy will be right back. Richard Parker divorced his mail-order bride, Pia, after 6 years. Now, he wants her punished for filing a false police report.
I want to hear it. Play it.
Play the tape.
Quiet. Like the tape?
This will be my last one. I'm just telling you, whether you get a Spanish attorney or what kind of attorney, you need to get a good attorney. You're going to need a good one to give you good advice, because you're going to need it. You need to know what can happen, and I'm going to do it now. I'm going to take you to court, and I'm going to make your bleed until you bleed to death from your son of a bitch. You've always said, I don't care about my daughter. You don't care. But now that I have the time to do things with her, and you're trying to take her and deprive me of her. So it's not me, it's you. And you're going to need a good lawyer and good legal advice. Get it, or you're going to lose, and I will put you in jail. That is my goal, to see you sit in jail, and it can be done. Goodbye. Also know that we were not going to spend any more money on attorneys. We're not going to fight. We're not going to cause our adults to have problems. We're going to work together and cooperate. Do you remember? Not that long ago, right? But I know your sick mind. I know your paranoia. I know your crazy mind. If you'd have brought my daughter or let me have her peaceably and told her she was going to go on a nice vacation with her daddy to see nice places, she wouldn't be saying no. You put the fear of God in her, you sick mother. You make her afraid. You put it into her. And the courts are aware of people like you. You're a sick, paranoid brain. It's your paranoia coming out again. You can't deny it. Look at yourself. And I'm going to take you to court, and I am going to cause you. I'm going to declare legal war on you, Elena. You can't do this. I'm going to get it all over with now, because it's going to be like this for the rest of my life with you. So I'm going to get one program, Monday, a message.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I
Well, we're having an argument with him, clearly, over his visitation during a period of time when he was supposed to have visitation, and there were problems over it. And what he's telling you is you better get a good lawyer, because if you're going to interfere with his visitation, he's going to wipe up the floor with you, which is exactly what he should do if, in fact, you were interfering with his visitation. These weren't the kinds of threats that are contemplated by an order of protection, Mrs. Parker. Somebody's been giving you bad advice, madam.
Your Honor?
No, he's going to talk now. If that's the worst of what he did, these were heated messages over the fact that he was supposed to enjoy visitation.
Thank you.
And you were doing something to interfere with that visitation, and he was very, very angry, and clearly you had just been to court and just resolved the issues of visitation, and then you left court, and within a relatively short period of time, the problem with visitation arose again. Is that what happened?
Basically, it is, Your Honor.
Well, that's what this tape suggests.
May I, with your permission?
Listen, sir, it's very late in the day, and I'm getting very, very tired. If that, as Mrs. Parker said, is the worst of the threatening that your former husband did, Mrs. Parker, you ain't seen nothing. Because I've seen real assaults. This trivializes domestic violence. This is not domestic violence.
I have a restraining order. I put.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate that some judge gave you a restraining order because of this kind of tape.
Thank you,
I never.
That's very unfortunate, and it's what makes men angry. It's what makes men angry because unfortunately, some judges see a case and they say, gee, I better give everybody a restraining order because God forbid she gets murdered the next day, and if I didn't give them a restraining order, it's going to be my fault. That is nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Judge Judy returns in a moment.
If that's the worst of it, Mrs. Parker, he's entitled to the money that he spent on a lawyer, if that's the worst of it. Because you got to stop going to court and filing for restraining orders for that sort of stuff. Do you have the attorney's bill, sir?
Yeah, I do, Your Honor.
Well, how much was the bill, exactly?
It was $3,000.
May I see it, please?
Yes, well, here's a copy of his statement and a copy of my check.
That's fine. You filed this temporary restraining order, which was ultimately dismissed by the district attorney because it was, in fact, let me see the dismissal, because it was, in fact, nonsense.
And there's a letter from my attorney with the
I don't want to see the letter, but I do want to see the dismissal. And he has to be compensated for that. Because you file a restraining order, and if it causes someone else, like your husband, to have to spend money to defend it, and it is nonsense, you're going to pay. So you're going to pay him $3,000. And you, sir, are going, well, she's going to pay you $2,900. That's $100 less the entertainment center.
Yes.
And you are going to see to it that she has the bedroom set and the refrigerator within 48 hours.
No,
other than that, I am not entertaining your $2,000 request for mental stress.
I understand.
I hope, Mrs. Parker, you've listened to what I'm saying. I hope, put your hand down. I hope you have listened to what I've said to you. You have a child. Child is supposed to love both parents. I get the sense from Mr. Parker that he loves his daughter, that he wants to take her places, that he wants to take her on vacations. You will not control that. If you get a good judge in this case, in your custody case, the judge is going to tell you, no parent is supposed to control how a child feels about the other parent. And if you were two reasonable people, you could share her custody and both spend good time with her. If you can't, and if you're going to be rigid, you're going to lose custody of your daughter. That's all. Case is over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Judy returns in a moment.
I've been fighting this since way back in August when I took my daughter on vacation, and she fights me every inch of the way when I try to do something with my daughter or become close to her or take her on vacation. And I've been in other courts for other things that relate to this. And the legal system in this country is somewhat sick, but this makes me feel good. She thinks spies are following her. This is my ex-wife now. She thinks spies are following her. She thinks people are following her to kidnap the baby under ridiculous circumstances. When the kid's strapped in the stroller or with adults all over the place, some woman's following us. She accuses me of domestic violence. I've never in my life had the police called on me in my life until I met that woman, and I couldn't even tell you how many times she's called the cops on me. In her mind, I don't think she's lying. I think she believes what she says. Well, it scares me for my daughter's sake. Is my daughter going to raise up with this constant, with a mother everywhere she takes her? Oh, we got to look out. Are you going to keep her locked up in the house? You know, when I take my daughter on vacation, I can tell after 2 or 3 days she starts to unwind and enjoy herself.
All parties on Franklin versus Bird. Step forward, please.
Erilyn Franklin struck a deal with William Byrd to sell a bunch of Super Bowl caps. They got confiscated because they were not official. She says William is a fraud.
Order, all rise. Judges number 85 on the calendar in the matter of Franklin versus Byrd. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
I always wanted to say this. I'm one of those women that is not really into football. So I always wanted to use the line, I don't know the Super Bowl from a salad bowl, but that's what really this case is all about. Miss Franklin, according to your papers here, you bought some hats from the defendant that was supposed to be sold for the Super Bowl.
That is correct.
And they turned out to be hats that weren't officially recognized by the moguls who say, yes, you can sell these hats, no, you can't sell these hats. And they were confiscated when you went to sell them. Correct?
That's correct.
And you stopped payment on the check that you had given to the defendant. He had given the check to a check cashing place. You got sued by the check cashing place, and you're suing him for $5,000, most of it for your trouble, because the hats were only, what, $800?
$812.50.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
How'd you make this deal?
I met the defendant at an MBA function, and that's where MBA. That's Master of Business Administration. So that's people who
I thought it was another football team.
No.
MBA, I really know what that means, but I wasn't sure. Go ahead.
No, it's a lot of networking for entrepreneurs and people of that sort. On January 24th, 1996, I received a call from the defendant, and the defendant had told me about a business venture that he was doing for the Super Bowl. I had already planned on going. It's my birthday weekend. I knew he was attending. And he extended an offer to invest in Super Bowl hats. So it's basically a phone order, and he gave me a great sales pitch. He told me the number of people that were attending the Super Bowl, the amount of the hats, and what they would retail for, which were $20. So sheer numbers, I'm an entrepreneur. The investment sounded sound, and he had assured me that he had gotten the rights to the NFL.
Everything's a business.
Right. So I said, okay, and then he told me other people were investing, and I said, okay, to purchase 150 hats. Which came out to be $812.50. And then once I arrived in Phoenix, I met him at the airport where I received boxes. He left and kind of left
Boxes of hats?
Boxes of hats.
And did you pay him?
Yes. He asked that I make the check payable to him, and I said no, and I asked him for an invoice, and he said he didn't have one. He'll give it to me later, and I said, well, I can't make the check out to you. I make it out to your business card, which said William Burt Transportation, which is what I did. So on Saturday, I saw the hats, and they didn't appear to be the quality of a $20 retail hat. So I did have some problems with, understanding what the hat's true value marketplace was. So I spoke with him, and I said, well, these aren't the quality hats, and, how do I sell? He said, what do I do with them? So he told me, instructed me to go to the Super Bowl and take the boxes to the vendor there, and they buy them in bulk there. So that is exactly what I did. When I did so, they were confiscated. They were not officially licensed, and I have evidence of a tape where he says that they are not unlicensed. And then
so you took the hats in the boxes, and you went to the vendors.
Right, where he told
You
me to
didn't
take
try to
them.
go out there and open up the boxes and try to sell the hats individually.
No, I took them to the venue where he told me to take them. He says, you can unload them, they buy them in bulk. You have to go down on the price, go ahead and sell them there. So that's exactly what I did. And when I did, they were confiscated. So I shared it with him. I called him and I told him, I did exactly what you told me, and this is what happened. I said, you didn't share to me that you don't have the rights to sell these. And he says, are you stupid? First of all, those are just hourly paid security people. You didn't even have to give it to them. And second of all, you're supposed to be discreet. You're supposed to sneak and sell them. I said, well, I'm not a hustler. I'm a corporate woman, so I don't go and sneak to sell. I'm not a stand on the corner hoodlum. He left me a message on my answer machine after I told him what problem I incurred, and he agreed on the answering service machine, which I kept all this time. His admission that if you're canceling your check, I haven't cashed it, I haven't deposited in my bank yet. If you want a refund, whatever it takes to make you happy, okay.
Is that what that says on the tape?
This is what it says on tape. Is
that what you said, sir?
Absolutely.
No, then we don't have to play the tape. Then we agree with that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I did. The next day, I canceled my check. We made other terms.
What were the other terms?
The other terms were he was going to Dallas, so he would. They gave me the hats back after Super Bowl. I returned the hats back to him. He was going to Dallas. He said he can unload them there. I told him what I originally was. I told him I'd pay for the hotel because I had free Hilton Honor points, and I'd take care of his ticket. And that was the agreement. He breached the agreement, put a stop payment on the check. 4 days later,
You put a stop payment on it.
I put a stop payment on a check. 4 days later, he took it to, I would say, a friend over at the check cashing company and cashed a check where the current law is they sue the maker because they said they couldn't find him, even though I found him a year later. His phone numbers have never changed, but according to the check cashing company, they just couldn't find their own payee. So I ended up, of course, the law is you can be sued triple damages, and that's what happened. So that brings me here today.
So you were sued not for $812.50, but you were sued for $2,400.
Plus and court costs. And
how much altogether?
It was $23.67. Somehow they didn't figure their math correctly, plus my court costs and so forth. But that wasn't so terrible. But to get a phone call from the defendant that told me, he laughed at me and he said, I deliberately took the check to the check cashing company, and I told him to stick it to you. I gave him your phone number and your home address, and I told him to go after you. And he told me he did it deliberately because that's the law. So I thought that was unconscionable. We agreed to different terms, and that was, I reacted based on the terms that we agreed.
Okay, sir.
Your Honor, this was almost kind of like the story that actually happened, so maybe I can tell my part. I did meet Miss Franklin at the Black MBAs. We did start dating, but this is not a case about hats. This is a case about someone wanting to not be with someone else. Excuse me, can I have my say, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. We dated. Okay, I had put an invitation out to her to accompany me to the Super Bowl. I withdrew that invitation and took someone else. We still had a business relationship, fiduciary as it may be, but she wanted to make money. I do nothing but make money. That's my job. Jerry Maguire says, show me the money, make me the money. That's what I do.
I want to get to this check.
Okay. I would like to get to the check myself. Okay, so basically the basis is that I never told her this was officially licensed by the Super Bowl. If you see the information that I've got here, I've got an NFL Players Party Association hat. I've got a hat that say Cowboys suck. I have a hat that say Steelers suck. Okay?
Let's get to the $812 check.
Well, there was not supposed to be an $812 check. I told Miss Franklin.
She gave you an $812 check.
Let me explain that, Your Honor. I told Miss Franklin I needed cash because I was out on the limb with my suppliers. I have invoices for over $10,000 of charges, which I ordered the hats on my credit. I had made this agreement with her as well as about 10 or 12 other people. Everyone else honored their agreement. When I ran into her on Saturday and I was throwing the hats out at the party and stuff and signing them and having the players sign them for her, I told her that this was a business venture and that there was also amount of risk. Yes, I run the numbers. But I didn't feel like that I would have a hard time getting rid of these hats based on the fact that the Dallas Cowboys have been in the Super Bowl 3 out of the last 4 years. Okay?
Ms. Franklin, can I interrupt
Sure.
you for 1 second? You have a hat over there. Is that one of the hats that he gave you?
Yes.
Can I see it?
Yes.
And
this is the official.
No, I just want to see the hat that he gave you.
That's it.
Now, Ms. Franklin, I'm a Super Bowl idiot.
Okay.
But even I could tell you that this is not an official Super Bowl logo.
Oh, I agree, but that wasn't the
Just
issue.
a second. So that all the baloney that you gave me about it being an official Super Bowl logo, that's a lot of baloney because any person, including my 8-year-old grandson, could tell you that this is not an official Super Bowl logo.
Oh, I agree.
All right, good.
Judge Judy will be right back.
What I said to her is I said, listen, the reason
Yes, sir.
after that.
Sir, you're very smooth, so let's stop fumfering. All right?
Okay.
Marilyn Franklin struck a deal with William Byrd to sell a bunch of Super Bowl caps. They got confiscated because they were not official. She says William is a fraud.
$812 check. She gave you the check. You acknowledge that you told her on the tape that you were not going to deposit the check. That's why I didn't listen to the tape.
We can listen to the tape, Your Honor. What I said to her is I said, listen, the reason
Yes, sir.
after that.
Sir, you're very smooth, so let's stop fumfering. All right?
Okay, Your Honor.
You said, do I listen to the tape or not?
No, you don't have to. The reason I told her that was because I meant that. I meant it. But she's not out the $812. Why I took the check to the check cashing place is I went out of my way. I was going to Dallas. I said, listen, I'll try to make this better because I don't want you to be unhappy. I went over to her house. She had hats confiscated. She didn't have all of them confiscated. She gave me about 40 or 50 hats, about $100, which was all she did for the whole weekend. And I did not tell her she could sell it in the venue. What I told her to do was contact local sports bars, go over there, drop the hats off, come back, do a consignment thing. I told her to walk the NFL experience with the hat on, not a box, with one hat on. The
Not
vendors
true.
will approach you.
Mr. Bird! Did you or did you not tell this person, a girlfriend, a business associate, a stranger with whom you were in business, it doesn't make any difference, you're not happy with what happened?
That was before she cussed me out, Your Honor. and-
Just a second.
And
I'm
stopped
not-
payment on the check. She didn't tell me she stopped payment on the check.
Just a second. Did you tell her that not to worry, I haven't cashed the check,
That
and
was
I
after
will
she
not
beat me,
cash
Your
the
Honor,
check?
and she did not pay for my hotel room in Dallas. She did not pay for my ticket in Dallas. She said she would. When I got to the hotel, there was no reservation for me. I had to pay for my own ticket. She said she didn't have the money. So I said, fine. I said, listen. I called her from Dallas. I said, listen, if this is the way that you're going to treat me, you're on your own.
That is not true.
Okay? I said, you did not pay. Can you produce anything that says that you paid for my ticket? Can you produce the stuff for my ticket? No. Can you produce the stuff for my hotel room?
Mr. Bird.
No.
But
Mr.
Hilton
Bird.
sure can.
Mr.
Well, then you
Bird.
get- is- do
Mr.
you have it?
Bird.
Exactly, but
Mr. Bird. Did you tell her on
No, Your
that
Honor.
tape?
When I found out that her check did not clear, I was in Dallas.
When you found out that her check did not clear, you were in Dallas.
As I recall, yes, I was in Dallas when I found out.
Just a minute. I thought that the reason you got angry was because she hadn't gotten you the room in Dallas.
No, the reason I was angry
Just a
is... no,
second. You
excuse
said
me.
that she was... Hey, what do you think? I'm an idiot? You just said that the new arrangement
If you don't
was...
let me finish my sentence,
Just a
Your
minute.
Honor.
Just listen to me, sir. You may be a super salesman. On your best day, you're not as good as I am on my worst day.
I acknowledge that, Your Honor.
Judge Judy will be right back.
I've gotten several different versions.
What is this,
Only-
a woman versus men thing?
No, Mr. Bird.
Alan Franklin struck a deal with William Byrd to sell a bunch of Super Bowl caps. They got confiscated because they were not official. She says William is a fraud.
Then let's get back to basics, sir. You said that you renegotiated this agreement with her so that she would pay for your hotel room in Dallas.
Which she did not.
I want you to be quiet. And she would pay for other expenses in Dallas. And then you just said to me, her check didn't clear before I left for Dallas. So that you had deposited her check before you left for Dallas. So how would you know that
Your
she
Honor.
didn't pay for your hotel room?
Your Honor, I never... She told... When I spoke with her, and she told me...
Yes. No.
Your Honor, she told me that she stopped payment on the check. I always thought...
So I did tell you I stopped paying on the
I went off
check.
to Dallas. She asked me, she said, why did you take it to the check cashing place? I said, because I've never had anyone who, if I've been in a business deal, call me up, cuss me out, harass me, harass
Mr.
my
Bird,
mother.
what's the right story, sir? Listen to me.
story
No,
is-
listen to me.
Your
Listen to
Honor.
me.
Play the tape, Your Honor. Play the tape.
No, listen to me, Mr. Bird. I've gotten several different versions. You said...
You never let me finish.
No, I don't have to let you finish, sir. You just told me two different scenarios.
How many scenarios has she told you?
Only one, Mr. Bird.
What is this, a woman versus men thing?
No, Mr. Bird. Mr. Bird, you're a fast talker, sir. But
Your Honor.
Play the tape.
Play the tape.
And Your Honor,
So if you got confiscated, you were like one of two people that got confiscated, and the other person was trying to sell officially licensed goods. So you have the, I guess, the prestige of being the only person that got something confiscated that was not unlicensed, that was not a problem or anything else. So I don't know what you were looking for in terms of what you were asking me. If you're canceling your check, I'm not putting it. I have not put it in the bank yet, or whatever. Or what you want me to do in terms of you not being able to sell your hat, because I came back with 32 caps myself, and I had a hell of a lot more than you. But anyway, give me a call and let's work this out. I called you. I came by your house. I hope you had a wonderful date, whatever. But you said that you had a problem with me yesterday. If you want a refund or whatever, I'm willing to do whatever you want to do, because I don't know how you're going to make me the bad guy in this whole thing. Okay? So give me a call at your convenience and we'll do that.
there's more, Your Honor.
Can I sit, Your Honor?
Are you there? Pick up.
Wakey, wakey. Caroline. It's William. Call me at the house. Bye-bye. Caroline, are you there? Caroline? Okay, this is William. I do need to, if that offer is still available for Dallas, I do need to do that. Would you call me and tell me what time I would have to get back from Las Vegas to catch the evening flight, Dallas? I can be reached at the Excalibur Hotel until about noon time. After that, just call me on my car phone and let me know what time I would have to be back in order to use that ticket or whatever. Okay? Thank you very much. And I'll turn my, you know what, I'm going to turn my car phone on right now just in case you have a hard time getting me at the hotel. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Now, Mr. Byrd, the last story that you told me is that you deposited the check before you went to Dallas, and you were advised by the check cashing place that it was not, in fact, honored. Now, is that true or is that not true?
Your Honor, I asked them if the check, I don't know if you're familiar with check cashing places at all. They verify a personal check before they would give me the funds.
Did you take the cash?
I took the check to the check cashing place, yes.
Before you went to Dallas? That's what you just told me, sir.
I'm trying to think. No, Your Honor, I'm trying to think. Yes, I did. Yes, I did because
That's
I
what you
did
just
pick
told
up.
me.
Yes, I did pick up some remaining hats from her. So at that particular point in time,
just a second.
I did pick up some remaining hats from her. And so at that time, I don't know the dates, Your Honor. Your Honor, I was at 5 different shows.
Mr. Byrd,
this was just one of the problems I had.
Is the just because you
Are you asking me did I cash the check?
You just said to me, just want a simple answer.
Well, you're not answering.
Said, I don't answer questions, sir. I ask questions. Did you cash the check?
I cannot totally recall if I cashed it before or after, Your Honor. I don't know.
That's big time problem, sir, because if you cashed the check before you went to Dallas, that's your voice on the machine saying, well, I'll take you up on your second offer, have the plane ticket available to me. And now you tell me that you did cash the check before you went to Dallas.
I'm telling you, I don't actually recall the date that I cashed the check.
Do you know the date that he cashed the check?
I'm not certain. His check cash company won't give me information. They only want money from me.
Well,
but he cashed. The point is, he did not. I reacted based on our agreement. He breached the agreement.
There was going to be another agreement, and the other agreement was you were going to fly him to Dallas.
I gave him back the hats because the Super Bowl
that you were going to fly him to Dallas,
right?
And whatever the hotel room was, and that was it, and whatever cash there was,
right.
And he was not going to deposit the check, and he did in fact deposit the check. Sir, if you had an agreement that you weren't going to deposit the check, but you clearly had by virtue of listening to this tape.
There's other conversations that weren't recorded, Your Honor. I can't be responsible for every conversation. You saw me 4 other times trying to get a hold of her on the tape, saying, let's work this out. If you listen to the tape...
Did you ever have a subsequent conversation with her
yes,
before
I had several subsequent conversations
Mr.
with her.
Byrd,
that is not
you don't
true.
know my question. Did you ever have a subsequent conversation? Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,400. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may
Counterclaim is
step out.
dismissed.
Judge Judy returns in a moment.
If this was something that was important to her, I'm sure she would not have waited a year until she saw me in a bar with another woman to bring this type of a frivolous action.
And he wished he had a date with me. The problem is I didn't want to date him.
Our relationship went sour as the more weight that went on. She has aging beauty queen syndrome. It's Texas. And I do not live with my mother.
So it's just a matter of sour grapes. It was retaliatory to stop paying on the check because he knew I didn't want to date him.
Parties on hash, Larson versus Anderson. Step forward, please.
Meet John and Shannon, and Chris and Carissa. They all moved in together, just like the real world. But life became a circus.
Order. All rise. Judge, number 87 on the calendar in the matter of Hash, Larson versus Anderson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Byrd, I think those eyeglasses are making you hostile.
No, Judge, I was always hostile.
All right. Looks to me from this complaint that there were 2 couples. Are you part of this couple? Step up here. You 2 couples decided to rent an apartment together? Mm-hmm. How old are you all?
Between 17 and 20.
Who's 17?
Right here.
Why did you 2 couples decide to live together?
Well, they were our friends, and we trusted them, so we didn't think, one little fight would, they'd move out and the day of rent was due.
Why were you leaving home at age 17?
Well, I've been living on my own since I was 16. I've had my own apartment since I was 16 years of age.
Do you work?
Oh, yeah. I had 2 jobs. I've always had 2 jobs, went to school. And
how old are you?
20.
And you?
I'm 18.
And how come you left home?
Things in the family, so got hard, so I left.
And you, how old are you?
I'm 18.
You boyfriend and girlfriend, I assume?
Yeah.
And why did you move out of your house?
Same problem, family problems.
Well, it seems as if you took your problems with you to your new house.
Yeah.
So, how much was the rent on this apartment and when did you move in?
The rent was $535. We moved in October 1st, 1996.
And how long did you live there?
We lived
together.
All together.
The
3
four
months.
of you.
3 months.
And how many months' rent did you 2 people pay?
We paid 2.
So you owe a month's rent?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, I don't think I do.
Why not?
Because of different circumstances that happened.
Well, tell me what they are. If you say you lived in the apartment for 3 months and you only paid 2 months' rent, my math isn't terrific. But
the last
that leaves a
month that they lived there, we did not. We moved out. They said they left us a note on the door on the first, saying that they were moving out.
First of what?
Of December. No. December. And they're moving out the 1st of January or sooner. And her dad was the co-signer. And
whose dad was the co-signer?
Shannon's was the co-signer. And if they leave, there was no reason for us to stay.
Well, they were leaving. They were giving you notice that they were going to be leaving in 30
Well, we had
days.
to leave.
Listen to me. They were giving you notice that they were going to leave in 30 days.
But the note didn't say exactly 30 days. It said,
Yes, it did.
No, it did not.
It said what?
It said either the 1st or sooner. We didn't know when it was, and we didn't need to come to the apartment and then move out, and we had to move out. So we moved out first.
Plus, there was an incident that happened the night before that we didn't feel comfortable living there anymore.
Like what?
The reason is...
Just a second,
okay.
No, she's talking. Don't take over.
The night before, there was a big fight, and...
Night before you moved out, you mean?
The night, yeah. And there was a big fight, and we just wanted to leave and just get out of the situation, quit the arguing. So we wanted to leave and just get out for the night. And Shannon blocked the way for him getting out, and so my friend tried to come get him out of the apartment so he could come with us to cool off, and she hit him. And so
She
we
hit your
felt-
friend?
Yes.
That is not true.
Well, what happened, Shannon?
They moved in, a whole new couple, to this little 2-bedroom apartment. A whole nother couple. I finally said, I'm working 2
When
jobs.
did they move this new couple in?
November. They moved him in November. They moved. I finally told them December 1st.
Who was this other couple?
They're friends.
Where did they sleep?
On the floor in the front room.
How long did they stay there?
They stayed for about 2.5 weeks, almost 3. And I finally said, it's time for you guys to go. And they blew up at me saying I had no right to tell them they had to leave.
She gave consent. So no one said anything after they were moved in?
I said for 2 days.
No one said anything while they were moved in?
Just a second.
I said for a couple of days, no longer. I said I can't afford them, and they can't afford them because they were never going to work. They always called in sick every other day.
Just a second. Sir, she says that she gave her consent to have your friends stay for a couple of days.
Friend got kicked out of her house, and she came to us, and I wasn't even going to offer for her to stay a couple nights because I knew how Shannon felt. I said, no, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. Shannon's the one who brought it up. Yeah, you can stay here as long as you want, and Marvin can't spend the night.
I said for a couple of days, Carissa.
So it continued on them spending the night, and it was fine. There was no complaints, and all of a sudden it was blown up. If she would have said something the second day,
I told them very nicely.
They would have left.
Very nicely. I said, you guys got to leave by tomorrow. I says, we can't afford you, plain and simple. You guys got to leave. The next day, they were still there when I got off work, working both of my jobs that same day. Got home, and they were still there. And they were sitting there saying, we need to have a group talk here. They cussed me out because I told them it was time to leave.
All right, listen to me. Children behaving. You know what this sounds to me like? This sounds to me like children trying to behave as adults. That's what it sounds like. I don't know how many relationships you all have had. boyfriend and girlfriend relationships, but it seems to me when you commit to having somebody that you live with, you're supposed to act like adults. And it seems to me like all four of you have had certain troubles in your life as teenagers. Left home, you've been on your own since you're 16, 18. How long have you been on your own?
About 2 years.
So also, since you were 18 years old, nobody's gone to college? Anybody go to college? Shh. Anybody go to college? No.
I'm still in high school.
I don't know where all your families are. It all sounds very peculiar to me. It sounds as if you are trying to act like adults, but not quite hitting the mark.
Judge Judy will be right back. Meet John and Shannon, and Chris and Carissa. They all moved in together, just like the real world. But life became a circus.
You say in your answer, sir, that you paid the manager a certain amount of money for December.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
We left a note saying that if there was any problems with us or with the money, go ahead and take it out of our half of the deposit that we did pay. I've got proof that we paid it, and I've got different bank statements saying that we paid it.
One half of the deposit was how much, sir?
$200.
And also we have proof that we did pay Shan's dad back in full for the first month's rent, and we have proof that we paid
We've
back.
got all of that.
Let me see the check.
Right here.
And 3 of their checks did bounce.
Well, I assume that you would have brought proof of that. Do you have proof
I
of any
don't have
bounce?
them with me. Mom said it wasn't worth it because
They
I
didn't
wasn't
bounce.
suing her. I was suing
I
him.
went to the bank and I checked. They all went through.
Mm-hmm. And mine was a money order, so mine did not bounce.
Yes, it did.
Hers was a money order. How could it
Whatever.
bounce?
Listen to me. You have to bring proof. Proof is what you need.
Well,
Here.
see, I wasn't suing her. I'm suing him. I was going to sue her later because she kept telling everybody I was never on the lease. So you can't even try and sue
Well, I
me.
have $135 to Jerry Hash.
And that's the one that bounced.
It went through.
Yeah,
That and a
just a sec.
$60 one bounced.
Just a second. I don't have any witnesses to the fact that that bounced. They're not your checks, right?
What?
They're not your checks.
No.
They went through.
You mean they were paid?
Yeah, they went. There was no problem with them going through.
And this one is for September of '96. I don't know what that is. $9.96. What is that? That's for $59. I don't know what that's for.
That was before we moved in together. John was short $50, so we paid $50, and they said they'd give $50 to his dad.
And then I have a check to the Green Apartments for $200.
That's our half of the deposit.
That's your half of the deposit.
Yep.
Okay. Now, so half of the deposit you lost.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now,
And we wrote a note to the manager saying that if there was any problems with money, go ahead and take our half of the deposit. And if we were getting down to it, they'd owe us $1 or something back.
okay, what do you
I have a paper here that says if you're not there for 6 months, you forfeit your whole deposit. It's right here. He even signed his initials right by it.
That's fine, but you were going to leave according to your note before 6 months was up, too.
I've got that
But
note
now
too.
I owe $780 for cleaning the apartment and because we left early.
I've got
I owe
that
$780.
note right here that she left
When
on the
it's
door.
inside my
When did you
purse.
leave?
We left. We gave a notice December 6th, which I even have a note from
So
the
you
manager.
gave notice December 6th. When did you leave?
I left January 1st.
So you lived there for the month?
Yes, we did. I had to borrow money from my father.
You lived there for the month?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got the note right here, a copy of the note.
Yeah.
What she left on the door saying that
Oh,
she
let me
was
see it.
leaving.
Is this the note that you wrote?
I don't know.
What do you mean you
We
don't
have
know?
the original, too.
We've got the
Just-
original. If you
What do
want
you
to
mean you
see
don't
it.
know? You want to show her the original that you have in there?
In the lease, it also says you are to give a 20-day notice before you move out. They didn't even give a day notice. We were at work when they moved out.
In the letter to the manager,
You
we
were there
mentioned...
when
And
you
here's
moved
from the
out.
manager right here.
Listen to me. Don't show me any letters. I don't take letters. Is this the note
Here's
that
the
you sent?
original.
Hey, show it to her. Is that the note that you left?
Yes, it is.
All right. Can I see that and compare so I can compare the two? Well, this is a rather nasty note, Shannon. It says we are moving out on the 1st or before.
Mm-hmm.
But I still would have paid my rent. I never said
How
in there.
are they supposed to know that?
But how
Shannon?
was I supposed to know they weren't going to pay theirs?
Just a minute. How were
When
they supposed to know
they were
that? You know what the situation is? This situation is who's going to get stuck first. That's what it comes down to. Who's going to get stuck first? You leave them a note in violation of your lease, which says you're moving out on the 1st or before. That means that somebody's going to forfeit money under the lease. They decide, listen, somebody's going to get skunked in this deal. Just quiet. Somebody was going to get skunked in this deal. If it wasn't them, it was going to be you. They can't speculate because the last thing is, have a nice day. Not. You write that?
Yes, I did.
Well, so how are they supposed to know that you were going to do the right thing and give the right notices and anything else? When children play like children, you have to accept the responsibility for that. Somebody was going to get left holding the bag.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. Meet John and Shannon, and Chris and Carissa. They all moved in together, just like the real world. But life became a circus.
They moved out first, so it wasn't them holding the bag. He did pay his $200 deposit, which covers half a month's rent in December when they weren't there. You, in fact, lived there for the entire month of December.
We had no place to go for that month. They moved out before us. My dad was a co-signer. My dad's so mad at me, he won't even talk to me anymore because
then you
of
have
these
to start
people.
behaving yourself. Then, madam, you send, if you have a roommate and you don't feel as if you can live in the roommate situation, and I'm not saying that they did anything that was right. What I'm saying is, if you don't get along, then you sit down and you discuss it and you say,
we tried doing that, and that's when we got in that big argument.
They could have stayed there. You move out on the 15th of December, and then they're stuck with the remainder of the lease, right? What they chose to do was to stick it to you first. So it sounds to me like you all deserved each other. This case is dismissed. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The problem was not with two people moving in. It was the attitude and the atmosphere that was going around, and we felt it was unsafe, so we left.
They're way overboard. They don't know how to live on their own. They don't know how to manage their own money. They don't know how to do nothing.
It was just tense. You walk in there and it was like someone had their hands around you.
হ্যালো ফ্রেন্ডস, আমার চ্যানেলে আপনাদের স্বাগত জানাই। বন্ধুরা, আজকে আমি আপনাদের সাথে শেয়ার করব কিভাবে আপনারা আপনাদের ত্বকের উপর থেকে ব্ল্যাক হেডস এবং হোয়াইট হেডস দূর করবেন। বন্ধুরা, কম বেশি সকলের ত্বকে ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডস দেখা দেয়। নিয়মিত পরিষ্কার করলে বা ত্বকের যত্ন নিলে এই ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডস থেকে মুক্তি পাওয়া যায়। ছেলে মেয়ে উভয়েরই ত্বকে ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডস থেকে থাকে। এগুলো যেমন অস্বস্তিকর, তেমনি এগুলো ত্বকের সৌন্দর্যকেও নষ্ট করে দেয়। তাই নিয়মিত ত্বক পরিষ্কার করলে ব্ল্যাক হেডস এবং হোয়াইট হেডস দূর হয়। এছাড়াও ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডসগুলো নিয়মিত পরিষ্কার না করলে দেখা যায় আমাদের ত্বকে নানারকম ফুসকুড়ি বা ব্রণ সৃষ্টি হয়। তাই নিয়মিত এগুলোকে পরিষ্কার করা দরকার। আজকের ভিডিওতে আমি আপনাদের দেখাবো কিভাবে ঘরোয়া পদ্ধতিতে ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডসগুলো দূর করবেন। তাহলে দেরি না করে চলুন দেখে নেওয়া যাক কিভাবে এই রেমেডিটি তৈরি করে নিতে হবে। রেমেডিটি তৈরির জন্য সবার প্রথমে একটি লেবু নিয়ে নিতে হবে এবং লেবুর খোসা গ্রেট করে নিতে হবে। তাই একটি গ্রেটারের সাহায্যে খুব ভালোভাবে লেবুর খোসা গ্রেট করে নিতে হবে। বন্ধুরা, লেবুতে রয়েছে ভিটামিন সি এবং অ্যাসিড, যা স্কিনকে ডিপলি ক্লিন করতে সাহায্য করে। আর তাই লেবুর খোসা স্ক্রাবার হিসেবে ত্বকের ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডসগুলো তুলতে বেশ সাহায্য করে। এভাবে লেবুর খোসা গ্রেট করে নেওয়া হয়ে গেলে একটি পরিষ্কার পাত্রে লেবুর গ্রেট করা খোসাগুলোকে নিয়ে নিতে হবে। এরপর নিয়ে নিতে হবে টুথপেস্ট। এখানে হাফ চা চামচ পরিমাণ টুথপেস্ট এর সাথে অ্যাড করে নিতে হবে। বন্ধুরা, টুথপেস্ট নাকের চারপাশের ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডস এছাড়াও দীর্ঘদিনের ব্ল্যাক হেডস বা হোয়াইট হেডস দূর করতে সাহায্য করে। তারপর এর সাথে নিয়ে নিতে হবে লবণ। হাফ চামচ পরিমাণ লবণ এগুলোর সাথে অ্যাড করে নিতে হবে। এরপর যে উপাদানটি নিয়ে নিতে হবে তা হচ্ছে হলুদ। হাফ চামচ পরিমাণ হলুদ গুঁড়ো এর সাথে অ্যাড করে নিতে হবে। তারপর এর সাথে অ্যাড করতে হবে লেবুর রস। 1 চামচ পরিমাণ লেবুর রস এগুলোর সাথে অ্যাড করে নিতে হবে। এখন এই সবগুলো উপাদানকে খুব ভালোভাবে মিক্স করে নিতে হবে। বন্ধুরা, এই মিশ্রণটিতে ব্যবহৃত সবগুলো উপাদান ব্ল্যাকহেডস বা হোয়াইটহেডস দূর করতে যেমন সাহায্য করবে, তেমনি স্কিনে থাকা দাগ রিমুভ করতেও সাহায্য করবে। অনেক সময় দেখা যায় আমরা স্কিনের উপর হাত দিয়ে চেপে ব্ল্যাকহেডস বা হোয়াইটহেডসগুলো উঠিয়ে থাকি। এটা ত্বকের জন্য খুবই ক্ষতিকর। এর ফলে ত্বকের স্কিন যেমন ডাল হয়ে যায়, তেমনি স্কিনের উপর দাগ পড়ে যায়। আর এই মিশ্রণটি ব্যবহারে স্কিনের উপর দাগ তো কমাবেই, সেই সাথে ব্ল্যাকহেডস বা হোয়াইটহেডস দূর করতে সাহায্য করবে। মিশ্রণটিকে ভালোভাবে মিক্স করে নেওয়ার পর দেখুন এই মিশ্রণটি পুরোপুরি তৈরি। এখন 2 আঙ্গুলের সাহায্যে নাকের উপর বা থুতনিতে খুব ভালোভাবে স্ক্রাব করতে হবে। এভাবে খুব ভালোভাবে স্ক্রাব করে নেওয়ার পর 5 থেকে 10 মিনিটের জন্য মিশ্রণটিকে রেখে দিতে হবে। তারপর হালকা কুসুম গরম পানি দিয়ে ত্বক ধুয়ে ফেলতে হবে। বন্ধুরা, এভাবে সপ্তাহে 2 দিন এই স্ক্রাবারটিকে নাকের চারপাশে বা থুতনিতে ব্যবহার করলে এখানে থাকা ব্ল্যাকহেডস বা হোয়াইটহেডসগুলো তো দূর হবে, নিয়মিত ব্যবহারে আপনার নতুন করে ব্ল্যাকহেডস বা হোয়াইটহেডস আর হবে না। ধন্যবাদ আজকের এই ভিডিওটি দেখার জন্য। ভিডিওটি ভালো লেগে থাকলে লাইক করবেন, শেয়ার করবেন এবং কমেন্টস করবেন এবং আরও ভালো ভালো ভিডিও পেতে আমার চ্যানেলটিকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করবেন। ধন্যবাদ।